All right. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am back from Lobster Con 2025, the North American Premodern Championships. Deck I'm playing today is the deck I played in the first day of the tournament, so the sort of side event or warm-up event, whatever you want to call it. It had something like 100 and whatever players. 8 rounds. I played 6 of them. I knew going into Lobster Con that I was probably going to play Dreadnought. I knew that, all the indecision points up until that point were definitely there, but like by the time I arrived in Boston, I knew that Dreadnought was most likely going to be the deck. And we showed up and we played the Wednesday tournament and noticed that there was a lot of survival decks and kind of random creature decks. So I had a little think, and if my opponents were going to be playing survival creature decks, then I wanted a Dreadnought deck that had more ability to manage the early game and make it to the mid game and kind of like, have a little bit of removal, buy some time, and then have like a protected Dreadnought later on, basically. So I would lose some of the ability to get through your deck really quickly with the extra cantrips. I would lose a little bit of the heavy card advantage element, like the 2 Flash of Insight main, right? So adding white cards, even though like it's only one less, right? It's like you can't exile Swords to Flash of Insight. But if I added Flash of Insight, I would also have to take out Opt, so I would lose blue spells that put themselves in the graveyard as well. So I would lose the ability to see more cards in the average game, but gain the ability to remove permanents from the battlefield in Game 1s and sideboarding games. And that hypothesis kind of turned out to be true. Meddling Mage kind of acts as an additional counterspell effect, right? And lets you kind of do something proactively and do something that Mono Blue Dreadnought can't do. And of course gives you the ability to attempt to trump the opposing Mono Blue Dreadnought deck post-sideboard by having Meddling Mage and naming Dreadnought, and even the option to board out Dreadnoughts. Basically, the option to board out Dreadnoughts like in a lot more matchups, because you have Plowshares, you can kind of more easily control. Like if your opponent's playing a deck that just doesn't have that many creatures, Plowshares lets you play Meddling Mage and stop Mishra's Factory, which was like the number one way to stop Meddling Mage. Played against Psychotog and lost. I had like a few mistakes, a few navigational errors, and a few judgment calls that didn't pan out for me. The funniest one just being that I thought they were a Dreadnought deck in game 1 because their first 3 lands were islands and they just had played Opt Portent. And so I went for Dreadnought, they countered, then I went for Mage and just named Dreadnought. When I also had the option to just push my Dreadnought through with another counterspell. But I only had 4 mana, so I was playing around days, so I just like let their counterspell my Dreadnought resolve. And in hindsight, it's actually kind of funny because them countering Dreadnought was like also another tell that they were like playing a blue deck of some sort. Although because that would mean they didn't have like a removal spell to like use in conjunction with their counterspell. Because you're supposed to counter the Dreadnought if you don't have any removal spells in your hand. But if you do have removal spells in your hand, then you might as well be countering the Vision Charm Stifle effect, because your removal spell will trade for one anyways, so you're not really playing around anything. There's a lot of nuance there, but that's the gist of it. So, lost to Psychotog, defeated Terrageddon very easily. Game 1, they had like 3 mana, so I just killed them with protection. I think I beat 3 naturalizes. It was just like not even hard. Game 2, I just contained their threats and used Meddling Mage to do most of the damage, and actually even boarded in Masticore because I saw Nimble Mongoose. So Nimble Mongoose was going to be my Meddling Mage, but Masticore could beat Nimble Mongoose. Then I played against Goblins and had a very close 3 games, but the 3rd game I won with Meddling Mage damage, which was pretty awesome. Then I played against Pit Rack and got pit racked, but kind of felt okay about my plan. I actually did board out Dreadnoughts in that matchup and was going to plan on just using Meddling Mage and my control elements to get that one through. And it was close, but not quite there. Then my final match was against Elves, so I lost Pit Rack, and then I played against Elves. Or I beat another Goblins player pretty easily, and then I played against Elves, and once again had kind of a crucial decision surrounding a Skyshroud Poacher. You can hear all about that on the Spike Colony podcast, but I got poached. So the deck I played in that tournament had 1 less Meddling Mage and 2 less Plowshares so that I could play Daze. And it also had the 4th foil, I think. So I trimmed a foil so I could fit in the opt. And I think everything else looks close to the same. So I played 3 Dazes. So 1, 2, 3. Just a few cards different from what I played. I also only played 1 Masticore, and I had the 2 Plowshares that are in the main, used to be on the sideboard. But now I reconfigured. I added the 2nd Masticore. I just thought it was super good against Goblins and could seal the deal against Elves. I have Dominate, which I played earlier as well, and Dominate's just kind of like better than Last Breath against the Meddling Mages of your opponents. I needed some card advantage in the sideboard. I was using the Flash of Insight plan, but I feel like Deep Analysis is just better in this style of deck because you don't have to play at instant speed when you have removal spells, right? So if your opponent's playing like a slow mid-range deck, you can cast Deep Analysis knowing that you have Swords or Disenchant in case your opponent, tries to overwhelm your counterspells. So counterspells aren't your like only line of defense, and then that means you can use premium card advantage spells like Deep Analysis, which is kind of better than Factor Fiction in a few contexts. Like Factor Fiction, of course, like they can give you 1/4 splits, and those aren't always great. Blasts are normal. Plains is pretty useful actually. Adding a land post sideboard is totally reasonable, and another thing is that often you will Armageddon your only plains, but you might need a white source later, so you should keep the plains in your deck so that your Floodstorms don't turn into islands. And yeah, Masticore, I just thought it was going to be good against the creature meta. It turned out to be good against the creature meta, and then it was also good against random mid-range. And, sure, they're going to use their Source Plowshares, Disenchant type stuff on it, but it's especially, it can still get value against a Goblins or Elves player. And of course, with enough mana, you can counter copies of Naturalize. So, not that I always get to 7 mana against Elves, but it can happen. You can stall the board, Disenchant Survival, and it's like 1/1s against Meddling Mage. You get up to 7 mana, so you have Masticore, Regenerate it, Vision Charm it. Works all the same. So I found it to be honestly really good, and I kind of want to try it in mono blue, just to help the Goblins and Elves matchup. But I felt especially at home in blue-white, where I could just play the control game. So like this list. Feels pretty good, and felt like it was good but the metagame was kind of hostile to it, even though I had made the changes. So I was a little shy about playing it in the main event, and I switched over to my Banned Survival deck, just in case, I just had the miracle run and could claim some eternal glory with my brew. So yeah. Been a long weekend, but I don't know. I just love Premodern. I still want to keep playing. So this is Blue-White Dreadnought, and we'll jump into some matches. Also, you should check out commentary of the Lobster Con on Dress Crew and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Podcast, hit subscribe, et cetera, et cetera. Take care. All right, we are back in action. First league back from Lobster Con, and we're just going to do the broken thing. I think we're going to use the leagues to really work on my technical play and try not to get too fancy with my deck lists, and do more brewing in the casual streets. And then if the brews feel good, then I'll cook a little harder with them. But yeah, pretty sick hand, and I think should be able to defeat the tings here. That's what the sandstone needle is all about. The balance and the tings. Double sandstone needle draw doesn't have me concerned for anything yet. We're gonna get in there. Our opponent is maybe gonna try to do something. No, I did not expect sneak attack. I guess it's not impossible, like if they just have a couple big idiots. But I don't know. I also just don't mind letting this Dreadnought die because Meddling Mage can now finish this game. Or I can just cast another Dreadnought. Right? I mean, certainly a card you're allowed to play in your main deck. Do your worst. Avatar of Woe. Alright. Sure. Well, my opponent's has done their thing, and we will proceed to do our thing. That was a pretty good Gush. Yeah, my draws didn't line up like that when I was playing Lobster Con, that's for sure. All right, what else have we got? Blood Flyer. Little Suicide. They just wanted to show it to me. Do you have 14 more? Or I guess they only need 8 more. Second Bloodfire would do it. No, second Bloodfire is short. Pretty cool stuff though. Bolt you. 6 everyone. Plowshare still feels relevant against my opponent. All my cards seem pretty good. Because Plowshares is going to stop certain triggers and stuff. All the dice triggers, Plowshares can stop. Dominate's pretty funny if they use the Penumbra Worm. I actually think they're pretty reliant on having sneak attack for multiple turns. So if I just like disenchant it, they can like do one thing. But like I don't think they can like one turn kill with sneak attack that easily, considering they have to worry about dealing with me. Main deck Pyroblast is certainly a choice. All right, opponent with another Sandstone Needle start. City Traders. They're just going for the sneak attack. Well, I'm going to have to stifle some Leafs play triggers. It's kind of my only jam right now. Not the biggest deal though, but I will get hit a couple times, yeah. Hit for 15. What if my opponent had Stifle on these? Oh, did I do that wrong? Is that a all right, we're going to navigate around this. Oh no, I was supposed to shuffle. Oops. Yeah, I'm getting a little frazzled. All right. Oh, I didn't have Swords to Plowshares as an out anyways, so it's okay. All right, we're playing first. Good enough. I guess Plowshares trades for a card. It's kind of okay. Could have thought of that. Well, Opponent on the mole, so luckily not punished for our mistake yet. Yeah, this is totally fine. I'll just play Meddling Mage on turn 2. I think naming Sneak Attack is fine here, and then I can just hold up Counterspell. Feels safe to assume that my opponent's deck is pretty built around it. Okay. I guess my opponent could like hard cast Bloodfire Colossus, so I should have some swords in my deck for that possibility. I wonder if they're playing like maximum double lands like Ancient Tomb, Crystal Vein, the Dwarven thing. Dwarven Ruins. Oh, blue mana. Didn't see that coming. I guess the other thinking I could have gone with is I should name Pyroblast because I have other answers to Sneak Attack because of the Disenchants, but I don't have other answers to Pyroblast. Pyroblast is always gonna get the better of me, but we're just gonna get in with Mage and probably make it pretty hard for my opponent to do anything with the 3 cards remaining. And of course the quite well protected Dreadnought. I forgot I need to set a step on my upkeep. Just kind of used to clicking that amount. Even though I don't act on my upkeep, I kind of use the upkeep stop to think about my turn. And that's, yeah, it's a pretty good example of a little mid-game jam. Just play a little bit of control. Don't have to go too control-y, just play a little bit. And we get there 2-1. All right, we're battling hippies. Hopefully they don't have hippies. Hippies are pretty good against me. Yep, you've got to have the heart of a champion here. Heart of a champion. Main deck annul. So I'll pitch this to Impulse. It's a little awkward right now. And I'm gonna go with the Stifle, I think. Main deck annul, could be blue-white control, could be whatever, but upkeep and whatnot are going to be the same no matter what, so doesn't really make a difference. Probably a Chain of Vapor here. Could be playing against Stasis. Stasis and just Mono Blue Tide is the most likely deck that does this. So a little scary, a lot of selection, but they went shuffle, shuffle. But connecting for 12 is pretty important here. Is it a Gush? Okay, this is just definitely Stasis. Interesting. Don't know if that's ever the right thing to do. All right, Masticore is a pretty funny one against Stasis. They can't win with Stasis if I have it in play. Well, Vision Charms and Stifles are actually both good. I have to use Stifles on Brain Freeze and Vision Charms on other stuff, so not sure what I do. The other land is good. And Armageddon is also... I guess Armageddon's not that good because they have Thwart. Boop, boop, boop. Don't really need Masticore. Like, I don't even want to be discarding cards against Black Vice. And he's just like a big sorcery speed idiot, so not really a fan of that. Keep any 7 cards almost. Not really, I guess. These are all fine. Don't really need a Vision Charm. Shuffle that Vision Charm away. Playing around days is okay here. Okay. Thought I tried to shuffle that away, but I guess I didn't. Oh, it's a swamp. Okay, we're playing against Psychotog. Well, yeah, I was not prepared for that. I guess I should have been. I played against Psychotog this weekend. Okay, now all of a sudden we do want a Vision Charm. Opponent has 4 cards. Psychotog with the main deck annul, huh? Portent no shuffle. Just gonna pass. So yeah, at the first round of the Lobster Con Day 1 event, I get paired against Psych Dog, and I just don't know it's Psych Dog, so it looks like Dreadnought to me, so I just go ahead and Mage naming Dreadnought after going for my own Dreadnought. And yeah, it does not get me very far. Factor of Fiction. Yeah, I wish I had a counter for this. Okay, they are using Brain Freeze. So there's that. And that. And that. Yeah, I wish I had Armageddon as well. They're taking hard on this fact. Trying to figure out if they value the Brain Freeze. They can, of course, it's a decent value, but yeah, the Phyrexian Furnace redraw is basically the same as this, so the 3-card pile was just a little bit more value. I guess I could have gone Duress with a couple extra lands. Okay, opponent could be going for the kill here. 11 cards in hand is worth 16.5 damage. Or they'll just go 16 plus 8. Yeah, so they just had lethal if they shipped it here, but got too scared. So now they got 9 plus, or 8 plus 7. So it would have been lethal. Guess I don't really want to ram this Gush. But I also have to. Eventually they're going to attack me for lethal. They're going to attack me for lethal eventually, surely. Like, they could have just Brain Freeze themselves too. Something along those lines. Get the damage. Man, like, kind of a super superstitious Brain Freeze right there. Not ideal. Okay, hand size a bunch. Opponent could ship a lethal attack here. Choosing to be patient once again. Probably has plenty of good stuff. If they're going to be patient, I'm going to be patient. I'm just going to counterspell this Intuition. If they have access to Wonder, that would make things hard for me. 6 plus 8 is exactly enough damage minus plus 1. All right, we're going to Gush, and we're going to Impulse. And we're going to play a Dreadnought, and we're going to foil the Annul, and we're going to counterspell the Annul. Okay, they do indeed have Smothers. All right, different plan. All the damage is going to be dealt by Meddling Mage this game. Thank you very much. Didn't see any powder kegs, but I can always disenchant a Phyrexian Furnace, can't I? I think being on the play is still good. This hand kind of sucks. What's my opponent's card advantage? Just Gush, Factor Fiction. I didn't see any accumulated knowledge. This really isn't a hand I want against them. I just kind of want to hit my land drops, I think. It's pretty borderline. There's like a possibility that I can stifle a fetch land, which could be a good way to do a pseudo land drop. Opponent knows about Armageddon now. Guess that's like one main reason not to keep the hand. This counterspell makes sense. Thoughtseize Bug, Portent. Go ahead and trade in the Stifle for the Portent. Thoughtseize Bugged again. Maybe I wanted to hold the counterspell up for the Psychotalk turn, but I don't know. I have an Adarkar Wastes, so now I no longer fear Psychotalks. Plains. Opponent with 5 cards in hand. And I'll go ahead and stifle the Delta. Maybe their Factor Fiction needed to get lands or something. Another Delta. Let the Delta resolve. Feel like naming Factor Fiction now. But I think I'm still going to name Smother, because that is the plan. And also just the thing that makes the most sense. And then, yeah, just going to cash in our counterspell for this Factor Fiction. Felt like the most obvious Factor Fiction in the world, but I don't know. Smother would have been good. So, but yeah, my opponent knows about my hand, knows about the 2 Swords of Plowshares, and they could be they could cast like a powder keg. Yeah, So hopefully I draw the one Disenchant or kind of lament the Stifle that I used. Oh, that's a choice. It's gushing right now. I'll also gush. Well, 2 for 3 Armageddon, but then it destroys all my sources. We're a little far from this Dominate, aren't we? I think we're just looking for our deep analysis. Or the Disenchant, right? The Stifle works. Cast quite a few spells this turn, maybe. Not ideal. Could just get value Brain Freeze, which would be kind of sick. Cast 4 spells. Okay. We got out of there. Attack with Meddling Mage. Hold up the Stifle, because it can, I can Stifle through a Mana Leak right now, which is good. Impulse. My opponent's at 13. There's the Duress. Good timing there. But also sees the news that I have a second Meddling Mage, so wonder what they'll do about that. The answer is nothing. Thinking about whether or not to play the 5th island. I think I will. The 5th island's actually pretty okay because I can just go Armageddon Mage. Opponent gets their Portent trigger. I get the 3rd Swords of Plowshares, almost useless. And they're going to wait to keg till the last minute. I think I'm okay with that. And they can, of course, use Psychotog to buy themselves some more time. But it does mean I get closer to my last Stifle. But yeah, they could use the Psychotog pumps to buy them the time, and then Brain Freeze me. But they're just choked on lands here. Should I continue playing lands? Guess I will. This Armageddon's just looking really bad right now. What's happening here? Gonna go for a Brain Freeze? Go for a Psychotog? Okay. Plow this. They'll gain some life. So yeah, using them to save some turns. I think that's a pretty good spot here. Interesting. I mean, it's pretty good if I find foil. And it's not even that bad if I don't. Just like how we drew it up. Alright, so that Armageddon traded 4 of my lands for 5 of theirs. So at the end of the day, it sort of washed. But it also could have won me the game. So opponent played pretty sharp, knowing to gain life when they needed it. If this is like Snuff Out, though, it's pretty good. They're whittling away at my Plowshare supply. I really need my deep analysis. Oh, they can get to keg now. But it does cost them an even number. Foil is obviously a good draw. Duress is obviously a good draw. But now my Meddling Mage will be faster than everything except for Psychotog, of course. Flooding out. Less than ideal. But they are 1 turn away. Oh, I shouldn't have played the island right because I could draw foil. But I think Dominate is checkmate unless they... yeah, it's just checkmate because the other spells are Vendetta. I mean, it'd have to be Diabolic Edict, exactly. Nice. Really, really great match at the end of the day. Kind of funny that I didn't know what deck they were on in game 2, though, so I kind of didn't even get a fair amount of games. I guess I got a freebie, they got a freebie, so this was the rubber game. Rough draws, game 3. Portent, Impulse, Portent, Gush, Factor Fiction. Doesn't seem that bad. Didn't draw enough lands. Only drew on Factor Fiction. 2 and all switch on the run. Foil. Well, then it's just like good that I Stifle the islands, kind of. I don't think they would have ever held an island. But yeah. Like the draws were rough. I intentionally boarded out my Dreadnoughts knowing that they had a null. So a null was supposed to keep the cards dead in their hand. And then Meddling Mage keeps the other cards dead in their hand. And then when you counter Factor Fiction, they have more nothing in their hand. And the foil was the last relevant card. But obviously they have to either draw an island or have an island. They have to draw a Gush. So I think I got out of there in not a bad spot. Or I think I asked for that spot. I created I made their hand bad. That's what I'm trying to say. Or I made their draws bad. Because they're saying like, because I'm just kind of like, well, you saw like half your deck. How can your draws be bad? You know, like I drew a bunch of lands eventually too. So, GG either way, but kind of a cool showcase of exactly why you play blue-white. You know, I don't know that I lose that game playing mono blue, but a null definitely is really good against mono blue, and this deck can juke. Mono blue could juke too. They could board out Dreadnoughts and just use Dominate to win the game. Dominate Mistress Factory to win the game if they wanted to. It's like really good blanking and all. Because they just, you know, they don't know if they have to keep a null or not. Okay, my opponent just messaged me. They had an opportunity to dress away the Armageddon, which definitely would have made things interesting. But if their hand was what they say, that dressing the Armageddon would have just meant that they had access to foil. Double Gush counterspell definitely did the trick. But yeah, I feel like I would have managed. I think I would have managed to stick that Dominate, you know. But who knows? Maybe they have like Brain Freeze, and it's finally got to the point of the game where Brain Freeze does the thing. All right, match 3 on the draw against Duckazilla, and this is a hand that ships on turn 3 and answers a Goblin Lackey. So. Can't be mad at it. Putting on the mold to 5, hopefully mulliganing to Goblin Lackey, Mountain Goblin Lackey, and 3 Siege Gangs. Oh, it's combo deck. Unless, of course, it's not. Feels like it would be. I don't know. There's a lot of decks that run Gemstone Mine these days. There's combo decks. There's Wayfarer decks. There are enemy color decks. We should probably like find a Gush or something, right? Like if they're like Tin Fins or something, we could just like die next turn. I have 2 impulses in my hand. My opponent mulled to 5. I think if they're mulling to 5, they're a combo deck, which means I can just impulse into some business, like impulse into Gush. I think I don't want to. Like I've got these 2 impulses in my hand. They're gonna do nothing right now. Like on one hand, this gives them one more draw step, but on the other hand, it's just so likely that foil counterspell is enough. This is an example where if that Flooded Strand was an island, my hand would be slightly better. Because I could take it for foil and like ship the combo. I think it's still good enough though. And yeah, if they're Ghoul combo, this Flooded Strand means that I can send the Dreadnought and then have Swords of Plowshares up. Okay, but it's more likely to be Iggy Pop. It still could be a Ghoul combo, but at this point I don't think so. Okay, there's the Gush. And yeah, we should use the Gush because this will let us hit our land drop this turn and have Counterspell up. I actually think I want to use my Vision Charm because Stifle interacts good with random combo decks. Should interact with the Storm deck. But yeah, I think this is actually better insurance because my expectation is that their interaction will be like a bounce spell, and then a bounce spell just means that Stifle is 1 mana less efficient. But if they somehow crack through what I'm doing, then Stifle could end up being much more relevant to like some random storm situation. Gonna hit them for 12 successfully, it seems. And then I have enough mana for Counterspell, Foil, and Stifle, and or Swords of Plowshares. And countering the Intuition tends to be good, but I think having double Counterspell means I should let the Intuition resolve. I also just, I mean, this is Iggy Pop, but like, yeah, I mean, maybe they can pull a surprise from their deck. I kind of just wanted more info. And maybe they're just going to kind of go a little, like they're going to overextend a little and just show me more of their deck. So I got the 3 main deck Orange Chant, which is pretty spicy. Yeah, and it's just the Ill-Gotten Gains here and the Concession. Pretty fun hand from them though. All right, this one's interesting. Really just trying to find this card. Meddling Mage is kind of good. I think I'll play the Plains and the Giddens. Honestly are fine. I'll just disenchant Lion's Eye Diamonds. Good. There's times when I can disenchant Lion's Eye Diamond. Oh no. I have to disenchant Defense Grids. Actually, that's what it is. And sometimes I have to worry about Xantid Swarms. So I kind of need my opponent to show me the Xantid Swarm first, otherwise putting the Plowshares in my deck is pretty bad. Guess I can't be scared of a card I've never seen in any Iggy Pop list ever. Like, Defense Grid is just so much more popular. And Disenchants like have a target if there's a problem. Select a hand. Off a Gemstone Mine. So they have no other. They're looking to be land light. Pretty hard to bottom Counterspell from this spot, but I need a land and I need a foil or a Gush. There's also like creative things I can name with a Meddling Mage, but I think Ill-Gotten Gains or Intuition are like both really good, and like Merchant Scroll is okay. It just kind of depends on the construction of their deck. I think I'm gonna bottom this knowing that I need those other cards. Adarkar Wastes is a good draw. Gonna go for the Dreadnought. They're just gonna Brain Freeze me? Brain Freeze self. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so they are using Duress. They got Deep Analysis, but it costs them a Gemstone Mine counter. It's pretty unlikely that they win here. Flashback, Deep. These islands look like forests. Alright, so can they build up enough Storm without Ill-Gotten Gains? Like if I just named Cabal Ritual. But I think Ill-Gotten Gains would do the trick. Or naming Ill-Gotten Gains would do the trick. Or I can take a bunch of looks for a foil. But I think this is more secure of a play. And plus it gives me a clock. And yeah, I think Meddling Mage just slightly better against combo decks. Like Dreadnought tends to be great against combo decks, but having Meddling Mage makes you much better against Replenish and I think Iggy Pop. Oh, I guess I could have named Cunning Wish because this looks like a beast attack line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. Oh, I guess I should have started with Gush because I could have drawn Stifle. Oh, no beast attack line here. Interesting. But yeah, I shouldn't have opted. I should have Gushed before opting. I don't have the 4th foil compared to Mono Blue Dreadnought, so that does make quite the difference. This is 30. I just cut the beast attacks. Okay. We should have just lost there. Would have been kind of interesting. But like, yeah, I don't know. I named the wrong thing with Meddling Mage, I guess. We take those. Right, we're rocking it versus Yo-Yo in round 4 on the play. Borderline. Guess my deck is designed to keep these hands. Treetop Village. Huh. So it's a Terravor deck? So they're Oath Ponza or Terravor. Kind of an awkward spot, but I guess impulsing is not that much worse than playing Meddling Mage because there's nothing they can play on turn 2, so I can get a little bit more information to try to get a good Meddling Mage out on them. Obviously, if they have a Mox Diamond draw, they can go Mox Call the Herd and not have to worry about that, but Other than that, nothing. Also, my fetches aren't going to be really good, so I really am going to be priced into naming Meddling Mage, naming Terravor. Non-basic land is also not good. It's not a good hand versus Terrageddon, that's for sure. Wayfarer, Port, interesting spot. So I can Meddling Mage Terravor, then Meddling Mage Swords of Plowshares. It's not a horrible strategy. Gush kind of seems too good though. I think I'll do this for tempo. It's a little awkward if I name Terravor here and I get wrecked by Call the Herds, but Terravor is really the only threat in their deck. I could also just name Swords of Plowshares, but we're just not at the phase of the game. I have no Dreadnoughts. So I could have saved it. I guess I could have gone for Portent with the fetch land. Something to consider. Opponent is deep in the tank. Interesting. So they play a land. My hand really wants to keep playing lands because I'm under the port. I'm not really drawing towards anything good here, but I guess I should just start getting my resources together to go for a Dreadnought. So I'll give them one Wayfarer pull. Also, what's important is they don't know that I'm Dreadnought yet, so Wasteland. Nimble, okay. That's makes things harder. Just gonna attack. I think I'll Gush this turn. I'm not really going to win a game where I Plowshares the Wayfarer here. Although this might hand size me. No, it doesn't. Guess I'm losing the race. I don't think I'm going to win this game anymore. I guess I had to keep a much more aggressive hand. Yeah, even that attack gave up 2 damage for not a particularly worthwhile 2 damage. 2 Stifles. Guess I have Core Haven quite covered. Yeah. No longer a situation where I really want to do this. But I think if my opponent just like casts Armageddon, then things don't look good. Sylvan. All right. Guess we have to plow the Wayfarer now because it's too much value, and I have the Counterspell in my hand, and against the port, I have to deal. I have to get lands out. Yeah, dealing damage becomes more relevant here because the Sylvan is going to let them convert their life. Port me in step, but I should be able to defeat the port. Gonna have to start cashing in my Stifles on cycling lands. All right, Mox Diamond. They can port into Armageddon here. Crop rotation for a threshold. Can't stop them from getting the threshold, so that's where we're at. I would have gotten in with the man land here, so they got bigger plans. Opponent is down to 7. Swords my Meddling Mage. They have 5, 6, 7, 8. So Terravor is an 8/8. I'm kind of dead anyways. I guess the swords is only good if they're holding their last 2 cards are exactly Terravor. So, and like if they swords and Armageddon me, then I'm cooked. Yeah, no real point in stifling libraries. Opponent being really shy here. It's good news for me. But yeah, maybe it is double Terravor. The porting will continue until morale improves. There's a Dreadnought. Do I want to gain 12 life? I have all these Stifles. It's not actually like I'm losing any card advantage here. Doing so would like protect my Stifle investment, but I don't really have to, obviously, and Plowshares here for me is good. And it's not great, but it's better than nothing. Obviously, this threatens lethal. The only thing is I would love to draw a Counterspell next turn because if they go for the Haven and combine it with the Naturalize, then I'm kind of in trouble. There's the Naturalize. And yeah, again, they should just attack with Treetop Village here. Should do the trick, especially if their Crying Baby is making it so they have to spend more time to do things. Terravor will do it though. Okay. Get in. I mean, I still have like 3 turns to draw a Dreadnought, and they have no Core Haven now. I mean, obviously, maybe I should have played 1 less island. I just don't think it matters. Wasteland is annoying, but not relevant if they sincerely have nothing. Okay, let's try this one more time. Okay, Terrageddon, what have you got? First off, I would shuffle my deck here. because they should know that they don't have stuff coming. They didn't shuffle, and the Wayfarer should allow them to shuffle. But looks like their one card got there. Probably just the Plowshares. Buys me 3 turns. If it is Plowshares. I feel like I'm getting slow rolled. How is it possible they looked at 3 and didn't find a single Plowshares? I assume they have like about 5 cards left in their deck that kills. I don't assume that they have a second Core Haven. Are they going to go for a cycling land? I assume that the baby meant they didn't see the line to shuffle their library before they Sylvaned. So it was really only one more thing. So land cycle. Look for that Plowshares one last time. Look for the free spell that kills Dreadnought. Oh, that is not good. Yeah, I mean, card disadvantage. 1, 2, 3 card disadvantage spells. Geddon was also a card disadvantage spell. Like, they cast 2 removal spells this game. Okay. We're gonna do all this stuff. Don't love having tons of foil against them. And don't, Counterspell's like a little weak because of Port. Plowshares, Mage is still good. And then yeah, we're gonna board out a little bit of our action here. Because we're just gonna try to be, we can win with their creatures, we can win with Masticore, so we can kind of just, and this lets us beat Core Haven. I guess Stifles let us beat Core Haven. Vision Charm works on Masticore too, which is why I don't necessarily want to have fewer, because I actually still have 4 targets for Vision Charm. They're just different. But I think I can have a 3-6 split of Dreadnought and Dreadnought things. I can still Turbo Dreadnought them sometimes. Or I guess Counterspell is as good as the additional copy. Seems fine to me. I mean, this isn't a great hand, but it's kind of fun. I just need to find a land and a Dreadnought, and I just have Dreadnought double protection on turn 4. And I'm on the draw, so I can sort of make that happen. Stifle a Wasteland if I have to. Well, I'm going to start on Island instead of Flooded Strand. I don't want to grow Terravores if I can avoid it. It's not likely that I never play this Flooded Strand, but I also might need a Plains as well. This hand is going to pop off on turn 6, that's for sure. Terravore showcasing how bad it is at putting cards in this graveyard just past turn 2 without casting anything. And of course, a lot of its spells are permanents. And Mox Diamond looks like it puts a card in the graveyard, but it also actually just puts a card into play. Guess I can Plowshares the Weathered Wayfarer again, because I am developing my mana on nothing. It's kind of nice. Mage naming Terravore, and then Masticore with protection is just going to take the game all the way. As soon as I draw my 5th land, then we'll Mongoose, doing a little damage. Force Plains, interesting. It's kind of dying for them to play a Call the Herd. Okay, should I Masticore with? I mean, I guess I can just keep chilling. It kind of feels like a turn to go for Masticore, because if I just get like randomly Armageddon, then it's actually quite bad for me. But unfortunately, this is Cold to Plowshares Disenchant effect, which is definitely in their range. Ooh, can't be regenerated. Okay, let's draw a Gush, huh? It's 2 Nimbles. I think I'm pitching the Mage, although my Masticore is larger than a Terravore right now, but I mean, I guess if I just Mage Plowshares, I guess I should Mage Armageddon. And Armageddon does kind of pose a potential problem. Armageddon's the only card that really gets me besides additional copies of Swords to Plowshares. They've already showed an unwillingness to Swords to Plowshares, the Masticore, which they had plenty of incentive to do already. So I do just need to Mage Armageddon. So all their interaction is Reprisal, I guess. Call the Herd. Man, this is sad. Not like this. I wanted that dominate. And of course I drew the next Masticore. If I knew that that was going to happen, I would have just... I would have just let it happen. I don't know. I could just trade the Mage. Mage gets to attack though. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't just like be like, oh, the only way I lose this game is Armageddon, and then let my Meddling Mage naming Armageddon. You think that tapping the plains was a bluff there? Sick bluff if so. Can we just draw Deep Analysis? Could our deck do that for us potentially one day? Yeah. Imagine we cast that Dominate instead. Alright. What is the idea here? Still worried about their ability to get Threshold, but I have to take this Elephant token off just because I like lose the race to chump blocks. If they go land Armageddon here, then obviously they're geniuses, but I just feel like they would have flashback Call the Herd, and they just have a handful like Mox Diamonds and Terraforce. And naturalizes that they can't use is Mox Diamonds. Give me something good. That counts. That's pretty good though. They can attack for a bunch now. Man, I need Powder Keg. It's like the only thing. Take 6, take 9, take 3. That's enough, exactly enough. Good line from them, but I guess bad line from me. I had to. Well, they like added the comes out to an even number. Take 9. They added the Nimble Mongoose to the battlefield that one turn, which was kind of crucial. Crop rotation. So yeah, I can draw a Stifle. I only have one left in my deck, obviously. Deep Analysis, Gush into something good. Oh yeah, I could have also drawn Swords of Plowshares, which would have made a difference. Let's see if my opponent gives me any more information about their deck. Just that they have crop rotation for whatever. Well, my plan sort of made sense until it didn't. Need to be able to take somebody off threshold where possible. They only had 2 cards in hand. They're just like playing. Their like interaction is Reprisal. I almost just want to go back to Plan A. Like my Swords of Plowshares aren't even that good. They can only target Elephant tokens and Terraforce. I guess Meddling Mages aren't good against Nimble Mongoose until I get 2. Then I can trade 2 for 1. Okay, so I'm a Dreadnought deck again. I can Meddling Mage stuff like Naturalize and Reprisal. That really didn't show me anything to Disenchant. I don't think Disenchanting Moxes are good enough. It's like kind of okay, honestly, but it's hard to say exactly. It's kind of difficult. I can just Meddling Mage naming Nimble Mongoose, I guess. I think I'll probably just like Mage naming Plowshares more often. Mage naming Plowshares. I can name Plowshares. I can name Naturalize, and I can name Reprisal, and it's pretty fine. I think I'll lead off on a Portent even. Oh yeah, I'm always leading off on a Portent. I could always just Portent them. With the fetch land, it's too strong. These are all great cards. Top Village. It's fine. I'm just going to name Nimble Mongoose. Don't mind me. The only card I can't deal with. Gemstone Mine. Get in there, Chris. You've got a job to do. Dad, what's my purpose? Well, you stop Nimble Mongoose from entering the battlefield and you attack. Show me a Call the Herd and then I impulse into Dominate, please. Just one time. I deserve it. Gush is probably good. Watch us cast this Deep Analysis. My good friend and deck designer Dave Raska said, "You'll never cast this spell against Rishin and Port." To which I say, "You're probably right, but I just did." Plowshares. No Plowshares. Would have stifled any of those, though. But I think it's good to be developed here. Now it's Plowshares. Okay. Have all the Nimblemungus you want. See what I care. This is going to be a Dreadnought protection situation, I believe. Or, of course, I can just draw into Masticore, which is good. Good enough. 3 mana for a Call of the Herd, sure. 3 Gushes, huh? Impulse. So that I can just hit my land drop this turn. Don't really want to go to hand size. Just want to be a little bit patient. I can take some elephant hits. Guess I could have stifled that just to get it out of my hand. Well, I need Source of Plowshares now, but like I'm drawing towards so much good stuff. I'm drawing towards Dreadnought. And okay, the beatdowns are engaged. Guess this is not the worst spot to Gush. But I can go Dreadnought, Stifle, hold up Vision Charm, and then Gush into something. I could go for the Deep Analysis, actually. Gush, Dreadnought. So I want to use my white mana. Like I can go Gush, Dreadnought, and then Meddling Mage, naming a Reprisal. Because if I don't get that mana this turn, I don't get it this turn. And then I have to cast 3 Gushes here. Gush, Dreadnought, Stifle. And then I'm holding double Vision Charm, foil. But I could get raced. Like if they go Plowshares, attack for a bunch, could get raced because this Reprisal is it's just a Terrageddon. I mean, I guess I'll counter Terravor. So they can attack me for like 9. So we kind of have to find like a Masticore or a Dominate. Or else we'll take 9 plus, and then we'll just like die to lethal damage. Let's go ahead and try, because the counterspell here is pretty crucial. Nothing. I guess this took Masticore out of my range. Stifle. So this taking 4 damage doesn't put me at a break point, but actually, so I could take 9, go down to 5, and then they need to get in with 2. But if I Deep Analysis, they can get in with 1. That was my only foil though, too, as well. So that's like my only free counterspell. I think I have to be able to access Dominate. I think I can't flash this back because they can get in for 9 and I can have 2 blockers. Like I can have Masticore as my other blocker next turn. So I think that's better. Also, I can just draw a second Stifle, I guess. There's the sorts of Plowshares. So my options have improved. Okay, so this has become a tight game. I actually have to play quicker now. Okay, just gonna keep going. So I can attack and Stifle and die, so that's not an option, but I have outs to draw Dominate. So I can Stifle this. They can activate it again, and then I get the block off, and then I get to Plow the Elephant token. So Blast, sure. Now they only have 1 creature. And let's see what would have happened. Well, let me draw more cards. It's a tight game, but I feel like I could have just pulled it out if I had if I have a Dominate or any number of things. Too bad I can't see the top cards in my deck. Yeah. Would have really liked to just see the top cards in my deck. Guess I'm glad I didn't cast Deep Analysis. If I cast Deep Analysis that turn, I would have got the Plowshares off on the Elephant token, and then the next attack would have been similar spot. Yeah. Won't get to see what happens. That's sort of too bad. Tough match, though. Like, Nimble Mongoose is just much better against my deck than Call the Herd can be, just because it's less exposed to dominate. And, of course, Swords of Plowshares. And, of course, it stops Meddling Mage from attacking a lot better with no interaction. I don't know if that means I should play like 2 Powder Keg as my like sideboard other things to do. Because like Powder Keg can also take down Argothian. I mean, sometimes you can just play Wrath of God. Who knows? But yeah, GG's. That was a tough fight. Lots of dads in the CPL league, so the crying babies are always a little tough on the more clocky matches. Also, my opponent should have just killed me a lot faster in the... Yeah, they should have just won the Armageddon game, right? I have to count this as like a loss as far as testing is considered, because they should have just killed me in the Armageddon game. Like if they just had attacked with Treetop Village a lot more times, like that would have made the difference. All right, battle time. This is round 4. Good enough for me. Just gotta hope my opponent doesn't have Wasteland. Start on the Waste in case something to plow. Otherwise, I'll just Mage. Against Wooded Foothills, huh? I might just Stifle that. Probably not. I could draw Dreadnought. But yeah, Wooded Foothills is a bit of a Goblins or Burn indicator. If it's Bolt Face, then yeah. Okay, there's a pup. Guess I'll be a little mana efficient this turn. I don't really have anything that I want to Meddling Mage. I guess Mage blocks the pup, so I could go Mage. I didn't really want to play Mage into like 3 open mana. What deals the most damage? They have 3 cards in hand. I think I'm just going to foil their next sorcery speed cast. Nothing. They're flooded. Take a Gush anytime now. Nothing. That was the card I was thinking about naming with Meddling Mage. But 15 life is not a bad life total. Just going to name Fireblast, and then they're just forced to kill it with a burn spell. It's like if you name Fireblast this way, it always kind of virtually gains 4 life. Good enough for me for a foil to gain 4 damage, use all my mana. It's still correct to name Fireblast. Now it's okay to name Incinerate, Sulfuric Vortex. Ball Lightning is still on the table. They've drawn 2. Fireblast is still reasonable to name. I think Incinerate is as close to naming Fireblast as possible. I could also just name like Grim Lavamancer. Incinerate is a card they would have considered casting and then chose not to. Grim Lavamancer and Curse Scroll are both really strong from this position, but I'm really just trying to mage either the card in their hand or a range of cards that could come off the top of their deck. So the most threatening ones are Ball Lightning, Grim Lavamancer, and Sulfuric Vortex. I guess Incinerate's not that scary. So I think we're going to go with the scariest card. All right, can we checkmate here? Opponent going for the fetch. And we just draw Portent. So we classic 20 card, no Dreadnought. But maybe we win with 2 2/2s. Sulfuric Vortex. Okay, Stifle can save me the life from that a little bit. Just a little flooded. Incinerate, Fireblast. Incinerate's a little awkward because it's actually in 3s. It's less of a problem. So I think it's better to name either Fireblast or Ball Lightning Ball lightning might be overkill. But yeah, naming something that deals 3 damage here I think is a mistake, so it's just between Fire Blast and Ball Lightning. Of course, Incinerate. There's plenty of reason to trade Incinerate for mages here, but technically I'm 2 attacks away. Okay, I've got a little bit of insurance now. Actually, this isn't insurance because of the Vortex. Guess I should have named Incinerate. I mean, I'm insured against Ball Lightning, so there's that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lands. Ball Lightning. Double Vortex. This almost doesn't matter, taking 6 damage versus 8. So I kind of have to fade. Oh man, just right on time. But yeah, I'm dead to a Fire Blast, which is sad. Wonder if I could have saved a point of damage. I feel like I saved every point of damage that I could. Could have gotten 2 extra Meddling Mage attacks if I played Meddling Mages. Yeah, I could have gotten the 1 extra Meddling Mage attack if I didn't cast the Portent. Let's hope they just drew Ball Lightning Armag Fanatic. Barbarian Ring plus Fire Blast, or Barbarian Ring plus anything will do it. Incinerate. It is Fire Blast. Ugh. That's unfortunate. 1 turn. 1 turn, just had to fade. Could have just played two mages naming Fire Blast as well. Alright. Don't have to get too fancy here. Meddling Mage has the potential to save me more life than some of these other cards, but... And I can also just Meddling Mage naming Pyroblast or Overload. Both Meddling Mage and Armageddon stop my opponent from being able to cast spells. But Armageddon doesn't block a Mog Fanatic. And of course Armageddon just costs more. One drew multiple Sulfuric Vortex, which does mean that them being a child of the Vortex is a thing. Borderline. 2 Stifles isn't good. But obviously the Blast is. This is better somehow. Yeah, it's actually better. Just play the Flooded Strand. Guess I could have gone with the Waste, because I could draw Impulse next turn, but... Guess my 2 Stifle hand would have stifled that fetch here. Pretty relevant. And maybe I do want Armageddon. Armageddon endgame isn't like really that bad, especially if they like happen to decide that like all they care about is like loading up on their blasts and their overloads. Bolt face, double bolt face. I just need a few more of those. It's a little annoying to take damage for this Swords Plowshares here, but it feels like I have no choice. I'm impulsing for a land drop here. They are a Sealifier. Feels like they're playing a list that's not dissimilar from how I would build it. Let's see what I get. Guess I'll take basic planes, huh? And Plowshare is not bad. And Gush was obviously not bad, but needed obviously some help. Alright, I'm at 9. I'm in the Dreadnought waiting room. Or 8. Opponent has 5 cards in hand, but 2 lands. And I have to counterspell a Jackal Pup, unfortunately. Guess I should have taken the Plow. Ended up costing me basically the same. Dreadnought now. Ugh, the one of Disenchant. The foil the next thing. Oh, I'm just going to lose to Burn of all decks. I mean, my deck is worse against Burn. I don't have Daze. I don't have 4 blasts. I mean, I have 4 Swords of Plowshare, so it kind of makes up for the blast, but I've taken like, 3 or 4 damage from lands. Hopefully their next turn is just like land. Yeah, I pretty much can't do anything about that. I have to take that one on the chin, even though it's really bad for me. But shipping the foil would have been really bad for me too. So we're like in a Plowshares my Dreadnought zone here. About to lose 0-2. That's the way it goes sometimes. both games relatively deep in. No Dreadnought. Like a little sampling of the top 20. I can't be too mad. I am also the bad guy. Luckily, that was their card. All right. Maybe this works if I have Gush. Or like Gush into combo with, or like Armageddon. No, I'm in trouble. Can't just stay at 6 forever. They also have threshold, so I'm at virtual 4, and then with the fetch land, I'm at virtually 3. Oh, but I guess I can stifle the barbarian ring. Double foil. Okay, I mean, if it was gonna happen, it's gonna happen like this. Damn, that's not good, huh? Yeah, this is awkward. I needed, what did I need? I mean, I needed a Dreadnought for real. But I also technically have 3 counterspells against my opponent's 4 spells, but I think it's better to just ship the second Gush. Probably can't be better, because like next turn I can go Island Gush. Let's do this, discard 2 Vision Charms. If I recast Gush, I can't even cast Dreadnought if I draw it. I just have to do it. I just have to live with triple-ish counter this turn. Stifle is half a counter. It takes me 1 damage to cast, but needed the Armageddon. Yeah, we can afford to wait 1 more turn, I think, because we have all this coverage. They might go down to a low life total. And they're definitely acting as if they don't have lethal burn. Jackal Pup. Interesting. If I'm going to go Dreadnought Stifle, I don't have to touch that Jackal Pup, but I wanted to go Dreadnought Vision Charm so that I could stifle the Barbarian Ring. So I could just hardcast Foil on this Jackal Pup. I mean, I guess I should have taken my draws. That's really hard to say. But I'm like trying to get these foils out of my hand in a way. Also, like, I'm in the world where I can Plowshares my Dreadnought if I want to. If they go for the blast here, I'm pretty happy. Fire blast face. That's unfortunate. Gonna foil that, and we play on. Okay, control mode activated. Feels like casting Meddling Mage here would be insane, but we could also just name correctly. They've used 1 of every burn spell. Just name Fire Blast again. This is like a really awkward way to gain 1 life. Think if that Fire Blast, they might have shipped the Fire Blast again last turn. I think they would have shipped it if they had it. I think their hand is just like triple blue blast overload, red blast overload. Let's try to stop a Fire Blast off the top. And also let's try not to like lose on time against burn. It's been an interesting match though. This is a pretty good match. Like, I would have won this already if I was mono blue, but I'm kind of glad we played it like this. Double Barbarian Ring? Oh. Uh-oh. Okay, this is not what I expected at all. Should I Plowshares the Meddling Mage? Probably not. Well, my pain lands are costing me here. Also, I broke my own rule. I forgot to play an island before I went for it. Didn't matter. Right, jumping in. Not a bad one. See, I definitely lost to Adarkar Wastes last game. And not seeing Dreadnought for 1,000 turns. Duress can take Counterspell. Probably can take Gush as well. Take Swords Plowshares. Oh, we're playing against Hermit Druid. Interesting. Upkeep. Hermit Druid. Goes for Hermit Druid. Foil, please. Plains. Alright. So, the Angry Hermit deck is, normally has outs. Yeah, normally has the Shallow Grave out. And, could just straight up raw dog it. So, they know I have Counterspell and they still Worldly Tutored for Hermit. It's because they can Cabal Therapy after they have it. So they have either Reanimate or Shallow Grave in their hand. I can always go for Counterspell into the... Okay, so I can try to hit foil, or I can Mage naming Reanimate. Mage naming Reanimate, and they can go Activate, and then can go for Shallow. Do I think the one card in their hand is Reanimate? Feels like it's more likely than not, but it could be Shallow, and then we're just dead. But, alas, that's just how it goes sometimes. If I force them to not activate on upkeep, then I'm in a lot better shape. All right, opponent with the turn 3 kill with Shallow Grave. This happened to me at Lobster Con. I lost to Dance Academy Ghoul combo, and I had turn 2 Meddling Mage, and I named Shallow Grave, and they had Corpse Dance. Here I named Reanimate, and they have Shallow Grave. How many copies? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this just looks like the same deck. Well, dress into combo, and we would not have hit. All right, this is an interesting one. If they're playing the Lobster Con list, it has 5 blasts in the sideboard. I don't think Disenchant is better than Impulse, though. All right. We're just going to turn 2 combo here on the play. It's kind of what we want. A little awkward because we have to consider playing around Stifle, but I don't think I'm going to play around Stifle. I mean, I could, but there's like sometimes I get a planes with this. Yeah, because sometimes I just cast turn 2 and name Hermit Druid, right? And it's like pretty good. Like if I get dressed, right? I'm gonna go with Cabal Therapy. I name Counterspell. Draw an island. Impulse. Gotta believe sometimes I can hit them for 12 and then they can't cast Reanimate, and then I can Meddling Mage Shallow Grave. So they go for the Hermit. But yeah, now if I just name Shallow Grave, they have to kill the Meddling Mage and Shallow Grave in one turn. Or I can just Plowshares the Hermit Druid. Good thing I fetched the planes. Nice little duress for info. Yeah, it wouldn't have hurt to have Tormod's Crypt, huh? Disenchant to hit just Dreadnought. Probably just have the island so that I have more islands in my deck for foil. So I'm just like not sideboarding. I wish I saw Red Blast that game so I knew to bring Blue Blast. Alright, this has a foil, it has a Stifle. Has a Plowshares. It's sort of borderline. I mean, it has a lot of good stuff here. All right, opening on the duress, and they could take my Portent if they wanted to be a super meanie. Go for the Plowshares. Definitely makes it seem like they are into the Hermit. All right, well, Gush and Impulse are not bad draws. Yeah, I am going to foil that. Oh, I forgot. There was no point in be exposed for 1 turn to damage. I think that's okay, because I could draw a Dreadnought. Oh, Pyro? Pyro now? Stop you from having an answer. They do have Red Blast. That's what I'm talking about. Did I shuffle? Oh no, I just have a Vision Charm. Getting in. All right. We lost game 1, but somehow lost the sideboarded matchups, bringing in 0 cards. Kind of a uncanny one there, but we take those. All right, we are battling for a spot in the playoff. I need to find out who has the play. And that's going to be my opponent, who's 15th seed. I'm 18th seed. So that's it's all them. This is a keeper. This hand makes combo with protection enough of the time. Hate to be on the draw all the way through the top, but that's showbiz. Against basic forest. Against basic forest, nothing. I feel like this hand's pretty good. Okay. Okay. That I've never seen basic forest, basic plains, altar of dementia before. That is a new one. I guess I'm going to proceed with caution. I guess I'm going to do nothing because I have no choice. This is Turtle Splash? 2 altars of dementia? Sure. This is going to be some sort of gamekeeper situation. Or like, I don't know, like, does the Turtle Splash combo even work online? You have to like, the loop is impossible. Encounter a gamekeeper, I think. Spike Feeder, that's fine. Is this Allurin? Dreadnought Stifle with Counterspell Gush backup against my opponent's 3 cards. Wait 1 more turn to have 1 more backup. So I can go Dreadnought Stifle Vision Charm Counterspell. Cabal Therapy. Guess I'm going to counter that. Guess, well, no, I mean the Cabal Therapy would have gotten value if I cast the Dreadnought first, unless they just have no, like, whatever. Pass. That feels like they can go for their combo. I feel like I need to, like, stifle the Leaves play trigger of, like, whatever card my opponent's about to like, use on me. I'm like so paranoid here that I would need my stuff. I guess I'm just gonna go Dreadnought Vision Charm and then hold up Stifle for Gamekeeper. I mean, I guess Gamekeeper, or like hold up Stifle for some sort of Karmic Guide loop. Feels like Plowshares would be able to solve that problem, but I mean, there's some upside in Vision Charm. I can use my impulse to find the next layer of protection. It's not like the craziest thing in the world. Okay, Dreadnought's phased out. Spike Feeder is a weird card to have in your Altar of Dementia deck. Seems like it might just be an Alluring situation. Should I stifle this? Don't think so. Opponent gains 2 life. Flashback Cabal Therapy. Always important here to do the little bluff. Make them name Counterspell. They name Foil. Remaining cards. Anything interesting? Enduring Renewal? That doesn't work. Well, that white mana is pretty interesting. That little white mana tap. Maybe they forgot that it was phased out. Pattern of Rebirth. Is this just like a mid-range pattern deck? I can answer this with Stifle, or I can answer this with Swords of Plowshares. I feel like answering this with Stifle is pretty fine. But I guess if I don't answer it, they could conceivably get me to discard the Stifle, and then so pattern. This is like a looping thing because you can go pattern, alter. Yeah, so this is just pattern combo. Well, it's a good thing Stifle answers this. Do I need to change anything? I have to disenchant the Goblin Bombardment. I really think I just click resubmit. I mean, I guess against discard, Deep Analysis is good, but I can't really tap out. Yeah, so basically there's just you pattern for rebirth, you get the Drake that gets that picks up the pattern rebirth from your graveyard. Then you sacrifice the Drake again. And then you get a Karmic Guide, which picks up the Drake, which picks up the pattern. Then you sacrifice the Drake again. And then from there, you can kind of get whatever. I think there's clean ways to do it, but if you just have another Karmic Guide, then you get a Karmic Guide, which can loop your Karmic Guides. So that's the simplest way to do it. I think you can do it with the Volrath's Shapeshifter as well, but that's more complicated. I don't think I really want to go after Altars of Dementia, when I can just Meddling Mage naming whatever, and they have a reasonable thing. But because what am I going to board out? Counterspell? I don't know. Seems good. And they have to be a worse combo deck so that they can answer Dreadnought, while I can just be a control deck. I can just be a Meddling Mage deck. Yeah, I think I might Portent them this game so that I can get an idea of the kind of resistance they might be playing. Hidden Gibbons. It's a good one. That makes me want to play Dominates for sure. Another Hidden Gibbons. Interesting. Well, there's a Combo Beast, there's a land, and a Hidden Gibbons. But I can also just name... I could name one of the... I could name this card. And then they would have to use Goblin Bombardment or another outlet. Interesting. And then am I going to try to deal all my damage with Meddling Mage? It's possible. I don't really love the idea of giving them another 4/4 because I'd have to find the second Meddling Mage if I did. Or just go for Dreadnought. Make them shuffle it. That was interesting though. Carpet of Flowers. Okay, well, they've got cards. They've got hate cards. Guess I have to change plans. Take the Swords Plowshares probably. Wonder if it's followed by Black Swords Cabal Therapy here. It's not. It's followed by nothing. Should I just jam? I have protection. I was gonna Meddling Mage a removal spell, but I don't know what removal spells a Meddling Mage, and they're mana screwed right now. I mean, I guess they can have a Cabal Therapy, but it's just the same thing. I mean, I don't even want to play a long game. I don't want to try to deal 20 damage with the Meddling Mage without casting any instants until I finally find my second Source of Plowshares, that just doesn't sound good. But I guess if they kept a hand with no mana, that means they kept a hand with all the interaction that they wanted. So they have all the naturalized type stuff. I would love a Gush. Keep them off the carpet mana in the future turns, in case they're mana screwed and their answer is going to be naturalized. I could go for the Soul Read. I mean, they're a green deck, and if I'm the pattern combo person, I would want to there might be things I'd want to naturalize. Guess I should have given them those 3 cards. There's no answers in there. If I just give them, I guess if I give them the second Gibbons, it's not great because they would have just cast it. Okay, here we go. Cabal Therapy. Yeah, resolves. You can take the foil. I wonder if it's their Plowshares. Xanted Swarm. Okay, they're really doing the setup. I think it's naturalized, honestly. Look at all these green cards. It's got to be naturalized. Oh, well, now I have Vision Charm. Oh, but I can't cast spells. All right, so I have to try to name the right card with no knowledge of what this pattern deck could be. I mean, I'm just going to name Naturalize, because if it's Plowshares, I'm going to get unlimited time. And my opponent's at 5. But I might as well opt, because if I draw Plowshares, then I'll just Plowshares Xanted Swarm, and then I'll have access to Vision Charm. Or if I draw Gush. I could just stifle the Xanath Swarm. Yeah, that sounds good to me. They don't attack with the Gibbs. Not sure what the angle is on that. 2 black. A little duress plus interaction. No, just a little Bone Shredder. Bone Shredder doesn't work. Bone Shredder is a terror. 3. Some sort of blocker. Pernicious Steed. Okay. Then you're going to play a land and then blow up your entire battlefield. And then I'm just going to play a Meddling Mage. Okay. We got there. Very interesting stuff. Pernicious Steed means they probably are playing Academy Rector. Cool. Round of 16 against the number 2 seed. Pretty exciting stuff. And we have a banger. Oop. Banger mirror. See who's stronger in the mirror, I guess. Never mind. I'll opt because if it's an island, I will foil. It's not an island, so I'm not going to foil. But Madness, I should be able to do some pretty decent damage by just going Dreadnought Stifle, Dreadnought Stifle. So much so that I might even not bother countering this Daze. Yeah, I was thinking that I could play around Daze, but I also don't have to. Because I can ship the next one, and then I have a Stifle for Gilded Drake on going into their turn 3, or I can play around their Daze. See what happens. Maybe that's a mistake, but they're going to green-green. They're holding the island. So it's going to be a foil-on-foil violence here. Go for Dreadnought. And we'll go for Stifle. And we will pass. Yeah, that second combo was obviously disgusting. Rootwalla. See if they get the Tabby or the Drake. They get the Rootwalla, of course. Nothing like a free Rootwalla. Okay, so that's why they played 2 forests instead of playing out the island. That makes sense. Let's see what they get. Waterfront Bouncer. That's a bit slow. I can beat Waterfront Bouncer with the Stifle, so I don't even know if I need to foil it. But I can foil it because I'm playing foil through protection right now. Seems fine because I can just like let it resolve and then stifle it, or I can stifle. I'll have Stifle Vision Charm as protection because Stifle basically beats every other way to do it. So no Gilded Drake main for my Madness opponent, but I will have to say that Madness is normally a tough matchup. This survival of the fittest situation makes things a little bit tricky. But we're going to be on the draw against the card survival of the fittest, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, still had more protection. How do I even play this? I think I go into control mode. I mean, they just become a deck with I think the entire game revolves around survival because I feel like I can just beat everything else they have. Wonder is a concern. That's an interesting one. The thing is I have to load up a lot of protection if they do land a survival. They don't have too many exciting dominate targets. Like I can dominate a Mongrel, but that's just about it. And Masticore could be good, but only if the game kind of grinds out. They just bring in 4 naturalize and like a thing. They also think that I'm still mono blue. All we have to do is stop survival of the fittest. Should I trim on the Dreadnought package against Madness? It's such a weird question. I think they just use so much mana. I think going for it. They also just don't draw a lot of cards. I think going for it is like not always a bad thing. Yeah, tough call. I just don't know what kind of deck I should be. Because like against Madness, having like removal and like suppression is good, but they're not like a super high resource deck when they have survival of the fittest. When they don't have survival of the fittest. So you can you have options to be able to stop what they're doing. What are you going to do? We're going to keep this. I mean, this hand just makes a pretty solid combo pretty quickly, so I just need a white source and a Dreadnought, and this Counterspell is not going to get anything relevant. Definitely feels like... Oh, that's... I mean... So I just cast the Portent again for the second white source. It's like I need the white source pretty badly with this hand. And if I... Well, actually, the Disenchant is the bailout, right? So I can get bailed out from survival if I find Disenchant. And then if I don't, I can just go for Dreadnought one protection. Yeah, so there's the survival. So we're gonna go looking for a white source now. Oh, they consider dazing it, yeah, and then have to shuffle these away. I might stifle this first. No, I don't want to stifle this anymore, right? Because now I can cook. Okay, well, we've got answers to survival for days. Flooded Strand, first time white is making an appearance in this match. Probably not bad. Probably, oh, it's an Arrogant Worm. That's just going straight to the graveyard, though. They get a card. Probably a Squee, and then they pitch the Squee. Unfortunately, them having the Squee is like pretty good value just because it'll make all their looting better. So like maybe I could have killed the survival on site, but if they just like get Root Wall here or something dumb, then yeah, then I got value instead of them having access to 2 Doggers. That pause was interesting. Kind of an interesting threatening of Stifle when that wouldn't be something that they could do. So pick up Squee. So they have a Root Walla, 4 cards. Another Survival of the Fittest, sure. Kind of annoying, but I guess not the most annoying. So now they pitch Root Walla, and the question is if I should be concerned about the Root Walla. So they have 2 cards that they can pitch, so it's actually just the same deal over again. So the only thing that I have to think about here is if I'm going to stifle the Madness trigger from Basking Root Walla, which I think killing a Root Walla is not worth giving up a layer of protection just because it takes so much mana for them to make Root Walla into a clock. And if they get another Root Walla, that is card advantage, but okay, well then maybe whatever. But yeah, they're gonna pitch Squee. Yeah, I guess because I knew that they had the 2 activations, it didn't really matter. But it doesn't matter either way actually, because if I disenchant, they get both pulls, and if I don't disenchant, then it doesn't matter. So I know about 3 cards in the hand. I only have 2 unknown. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Meddling Mage, naming Naturalize. I'm going to Plowshares this bouncer, and then we're going to be in like pretty decent shape. They're pretty excited to have their Squee bouncer situation. Should I Plowshares? Well, no. This was like, oh, should I Plowshares the bouncer with protection? But I have protection now. The other protection is to stifle the... No, there's no stifling involved. All right, they go for the hard cast Circular Logic, which I have the counterspell for. So if they have the days, then they're good gamers. It's also a tell that they didn't pump or play a Root Walla that turn, that they were holding up counter. 3 mana for Frantic Search. It's pretty good. They get to Squee Root Walla off that. Clean little draw 2 for nothing. I should have known their name was Walrus Madness, that they were playing Madness. And there's the dog. Alright, Dog Squee, Double Root Walla is now officially a clock, so I need to find that. I need to find the good stuff. Find the Dreadnought. I guess I should have Plowshared the... Well, actually, if they want the 1 extra life. They don't know that if they're going to draw looting this turn, so I don't even know if pitching Squee would be like good for them. Yeah, they agree. 2 mana for another Wild Mongrel. Okay. Hit with no pumps. They have the Mongrel to get their Circular Logic out. Oh, they're just going to go for Arrogant Worm. I get to Stifle the Arrogant Worm. Okay, that's pretty good for me then. But I do have to find Dreadnought like in 1 turn. No Arrogant Worm. Interesting. Because they could just hit me for 9 here, and then I'm kind of dead if they don't do something else. So I'm gonna have to go for the yield Stifle on the Root Wall activation, which is dicey, but it is the only way forward. Have to reduce the clock. Still have the days. Yeah, down to 11. They play a land instead of holding it for Mongrel. We have Gush. And we have Stifle Vision Charm against their blank, but we did not get there. So we're dead. I guess we can see what happens. I don't know. I mean, double survival, survival got all the value it needed, because then they picked up the Frantic Search, and that was just like quite strong. Frantic Search putting the game out of reach. And then, yeah, I mean, I Plowshared Waterfront Bouncer and a Wild Mongrel, so it's not like my Plowshares were not getting paid. All right. Dominate your Wild Mongrel. I mean, on the play it looks better. I'm more likely to have mana. Dominate's pretty inefficient against Daze, though. Do I think they're going to play Daze on the draw is the other question. Being on the play increases all my outs to Survival of the Fittest, so now I have, like, these are all outs. They can, of course, go Survival of the Fittest Daze. So I'm going to take a foil out and bring in a Counterspell. even though I said what I said, which is just that this is Counterspell is going to be inefficient, I still think it's good. Because I'm not going to try to get like a crazy foil turn, like an early foil turn, so I can wait to draw the 1 or 2 foils that I need when I combo a little bit later. And then I'm going to wait a little bit heavier towards finding combo by getting out of Disenchant. And I might even go even further and consider cutting Plowshares trimming a Plowshares for Opt. But I think Plowshares normally saves me enough time in the game. I mean, the other thing is, like, I can stick to the plan, which is that the entire game revolves around whether or not they have Survival of the Fittest. But as demonstrated, it's just pretty important to stick Counterspell onto Survival and not Disenchant, because Disenchant's just, like, so weak. So I almost would rather have, like, Impulse with Counterspell, backup Meddling Mage, and then just, like, have the answer to Survival and play, like, a slow game. And yeah, I'm going to keep Dominate out against Daze, because Daze is just kind of so strong. In that game, we did have to find white mana in an awkward way. But we did find it for what it's worth. It's not like it was a super bad one. Okay, so I need Portent to show me white mana, and actually Portent showing me blue mana is enough, and then eventually white mana is good. That's pretty good. So I can just I have all my outs are live. So, like, land Impulse is good, land Dreadnought is, or land Gush is okay, land Dreadnought Gush. It could show me a bunch of Disenchants and Dreadnoughts with no land. No land is really bad. Would I Counterspell anything that's not a Survival of the Fittest? Am I worried about Survival with Daze backup? all relevant questions. Yeah, I mean, I am worried about survival with days back up, but there's also just sort of nothing that I can do about it. Like, I'm not going to play around them having 2-card combo when it's like pretty likely I can just be in a decent spot after this Portent. Like, I think any land is good. And then, because any land is good, and then after that, it's just like all cantrips, dreadnoughts, and whatever. Yeah, and then there we go. So the interesting question becomes, like, what kind of plays am I going to make afterwards? So I have Flooded Strand, and then Flooded Strand is going to get me a Plains, and then I have to Portent into the second white source. So I could always draw the... Well, no, because my next 2 turns are just going to be casting Meddling Mage, which I think is pretty strong. And then, yeah, let's see if they daze here. Yeah, okay, so we get a name Survival. The second one gets named Naturalize, and then we can just kind of... We can kind of cook. I mean, I guess now they can have Wild Mongrel, but I can actually have 4 power against Wild Mongrel, which is like not... Well, I guess they can poop out instant speed threats. Amugaba, Aquamiba. Dreadnought Vision Charm. So now I can name either Circular Logic or I can go for it. I think I'm gonna name Naturalize. Naturalize and Circular Logic, they both have 4 in their deck, but Circular Logic can be stifled, and Naturalize can only be answered with Counterspell or Vision Charm. I think this is going to be a good game for us. Okay, I'll play a Meddling Mage naming Naturalize and know that I'm going to cast Dreadnought. This is turn 3. I'm going to cast Dreadnought on like turn 5 or 6, and it's going to be good enough. They're thinking about the days again. Huh. Yeah, I just need to get out of the daze zone. I think I just need to draw lands now. So it's going to be about how fast they can clock me. Which they can clock me pretty fast if it's like instant speed Root Walla this turn. So I just need a Gush and an island. It's not too much to ask for. A Plowshares is good here too. Lots of stuff is good. All right, so now we're going to see if they have Squee in their range. Just a Root Walla. Root Walla is good against Meddling Mage, that's for sure. No land drop is, of course, going to be great news if it's the case. I mean, no 2-drop would have been the best news, right? They have Circular Logic up, but they actually can't. They don't have the mana for it. Waterfront Bouncer, damn. Natural Waterfront Bouncer is obnoxious. Okay, there's the Gush. I just need the island now, but I'll settle for a Swords to Plowshares. No reason not to send the Peculas from this spot. I guess like I could trade if they have another Root Walla, I'd be trading Pecula for 2 Root Wallas, and then the whole thing unravels versus the 4 damage. The whole thing unravels anyways because they have Waterfront Bouncer. Man, oh, Waterfront Bouncer is so good there. That's just like Omega Tilt, honestly. It's just to make this game so hard to play. It's the last chance I'll be able to make this attack, and there's like some world where they can put 5 toughness in, and like this damage matters, is my thinking. And I think randomly losing Meddling Mages that I'm going to... I mean, I guess if the Meddling Mages keep the Bouncer busy, but it's almost... like, it's free because they can just do it. And they can just kind of do it at any time. So we're going to ship this in. If it's Root Walla, then we're cooked, but... all right, let's peel 1. Adarkar Wastes, obviously. I get a little bit of the like dislike of having the Adarkar Wastes not synergize with the Gush, and on one hand, it doesn't happen too often that I take like a bunch of looks. I know that I want the second island, or I chose to use the Flooded Strand for plane so I can cast Meddling Mage on Survival of the Fittest. But I also do think that, like, one, sure, like if your Meddling Mages were like exactly a null, and this one's pretty good if they have 2 naturalizes in their hand, like you can get some cook going. The pump on the Root Walla tells me a story, I believe. Oh, the full beatdown mode. Okay. So they're going full beatdown with bouncer protection. So what, I can go Dreadnought, Vision Charm, Stifle, and then Stifle again? No, I have to find Plowshares. Okay, so I did find Plowshares. I'm going to play... So I have to do this right. I have to go Plowshares, Dreadnought, Vision Charm, foil Gush. Or I just have to worry about the clock, getting clocked right now. See, like, I have Plowshares, right, against, you know, like, the other only option is if I had a mono blue deck with Cursed Totem. Like, I think I'd be in a worse spot if I was mono blue, despite the fact that right now, not being able to cast Gush is, like, definitely a thing that I'm annoyed by. Let's go ahead. This is an awesome match, though. I think that this is a pretty good illustration of, like, how cool things can be. Okay, so they're at 12 now, though. So the damage actually did matter, because now I'm a 1-attack Andy. So I can go for Plowshares. They can bounce the one targeting Naturalize, and then I Dreadnought Vision Charm, and I lose. So I can wait for the end of turn. They bounce one of my Meddling Mages, but then they can stick Survival of the Fittest, but then I can counterspell. I can counterspell the thing that they go for. So I can wait one more turn for the island, because I also have chump blocks available. Is that crazy? What happens if they just like put Root Wall in play? Am I cooked if I do that? That's very interesting. I guess if I go Plowshares Vision Charm right now, the only problem is I lose to Circular Logic. I just can't take 6 damage again. No, I don't lose to Circular Logic. I'm tapping them out of green, so I only lose to Daze. So the only thing I'm playing around is Daze if I go for Plowshares here. Because they can bounce the one that's naming Naturalize. And I still lose to Circular Logic because they can go Naturalize Circular Logic. If I think that their hand is Survival of the Fittest, Naturalize, whatever. I can also just lose to... well, no, it's just such a big deal that I'm a 1-attack Andy in this spot. Because being 1-attack means that they're going to use their blue mana on the Waterfront Bouncer, and then... They're going to use their blue mana on the Waterfront Bouncer, and then they're going to be stuck. And then if they hold their mana up, that's also fine, because I can just pass the turn and then go for it, hopefully with an island to back me up. And I have a counterspell for anything that they do on their turn. So I can go Plowshares, they can go Bouncer, then they can go Survival of the Fittest and try to get anything, but everything is sorcery speed. I think this is the play, because if I take 1 attack, I might not have another turn. Like, if they just discard another Root Walla or something dumb, like, whatever. Yeah, so they bounce the one naming Naturalize. So they do that. This Plowshares gets through. And now I can go Dreadnought, whatever, and if Naturalize is the one card in their hand. So I can lose the Daze. I mean, that's just basically what the one thing that I've been saying, right? So, like, the only thing is, like, I can just replay Meddling Mage. I can name Naturalize again or get it Dazed. They can attack for 6. I can hold up this blocker. They can attack through. So, next turn, I have the potential to draw Island, have Gush Foil, have backup, and play around Daze. But the following turn, I have to chump block with my Meddling Mage. And if they just have, like, Arrogant Worm or something like that, I'm kind of cooked. But otherwise, I'm also like, whatever. I also have to be mindful of the fact that that lion takes 2 damage making, or takes 1 damage making white mana to cast the Meddling Mage right now. So I go down to 9, which is evenly divided by their 3s and their turn clock, especially if all they're doing is 3s. This is like the sickest Dreadnought spot ever. I think I want to go back and look at this spot, because it's like there's so many like little things. The other thing, they recognized that the bouncer was too slow if it bounced itself too. So they had to go for the Naturalize. So I'm basically playing around Naturalize +1. Naturalize, like, I can beat Naturalize, but I can't beat Naturalize +1. If I want to beat Naturalize +1, I have to draw exactly Island or yeah, I have to draw exactly Island. That's the only problem. And I can't, like, opt into the Island next turn anyways. Island or Vision Charm is good off the top, but that's not, like, a huge range of things to be good off the top. However, if I do play this Meddling Mage naming Naturalize, then I can beat one, but if and only if I draw whatever, because if they just have Circular Logic, they can cast it next turn, and then I would need either blue source for Counterspell or an additional Vision Charm. So I think my range is way too narrow off the top, plus the fact that I'm going to be in a 1-attack situation. So this is just and I'll just lose to Daze, and losing to Daze I'm so fine with losing to Daze. Like, I think the fact that they still have Daze in their deck is super strong. Yeah, like that's fine. Like, I could have baited out the Daze, but I didn't. I'm also still alive to draw Plowshares or Stifle. One proactive thing here would suck though, but I think this is just pump. Yeah, pumping in for 6. Yeah, so they were drawing Omega Dead. So now if I draw, this is actually not a bad draw. So what I can do is I can just go for the Mage double block. What could be good here? I have to think that the last card in their hand is Naturalize. I guess I could tell based on how they assign their damage what's going to happen here. But Survival is the most important card because Survival will get them Squee, and that'll get them unlimited Aquamoebas. So I can stick the double block onto the Basking Root Walla. They can decide whether or not they want to put me to 1. And I actually did draw the source, so if I just replayed Meddling Mage. But I might have just been in a situation where I chump block with Meddling Mage last turn. So now I just have to beat. I don't know, they're probably flooding out. Okay, so we actually play on somehow. After all that, when I was like thinking that I was like super cooked, we just end up playing on. They're going for the Root Walla pre-pump without their Yavimaya Coast mana. I don't know why they would want to have GG up. That seems super loose to me. Oh, they're not sending the Aquamoeba. They don't want to get forced to discard. What are they going to do here? Like, unsummon? Okay, so we just play on, and then playing on is like super fine. I'm going to impulse main phase because I want an island. And I am holding up Counterspell anyways. So now I'm holding up Counterspell Gush. Man, okay, so I kind of forgot that what I could do was that Chris can sort of chump block Aquamoeba all the time because Aquamoeba is a 3-1, not a 3-3. It's not the old, it's not like the way the old texts work. So we just have to counterspell this because this is too threatening. And now we're down to, now we're 1-attack Andes, which definitely does not feel the safest, but you know, whatever. I think this Flooded Strand is getting pitched alongside whatever to this foil. It's a little awkward not getting down to painless mana. Impulse one time, or Plowshares the Aquamoeba and start attacking. I think Plowshares and Aquamoeba and start attacking is like really good because they could just be drawing Survival of the Fittest and lands here. And then I'm also making it impossible for them to poop out a whatever. Yeah, like poop out a we got to play this island. I can't beat a Circular Logic anyways. I can't pay 6, but I can impulse for the Stifle here. Because attacking's good. I could impulse into another Meddling Mage, which would be strong enough. But I will impulse with the two blue floating. Vision Charm, Portent, and I will cast Portent. So 2 Vision Charms to the yard. But no threat of instant speed stuff, and they're just holding Naturalize. And I've got a Plowshares backup afterwards, and I can shuffle away the Dreadnought. Okay, so this is officially going to be an attack. Oh man, I can't believe I can't believe the Aquamoeba put them forward. Like the Aquamoeba put them out of the evens. But I guess I have another Plowshare, so like my plan is to put them out of the evens all along. But we're just gonna try to win the game with Meddling Mage. Okay, this is officially like a blue-white one where mono blue couldn't. Like I'm pretty confident that we're in this world, right? Because like how crucial was like all the stuff. Now we're up to 6 mana. Oh, but we have Portent. Let's Portent for a Gush. Yeah, that's good. Gush is good enough, I think. And Stifle is like not bad. Because Gush basically turns on the ability to cast all 3 of the spells in my hand, and it's going to draw the goods anyways. So the only question is like what we're going to do. Like, are we going to go Counterspell? Are we going to ever Swords to Plowshares something first, or are we going to Swords to Plowshares it last? So Frantic Search. I think I let them Frantic because I'm just going to counter the Arrogant Worm. And like I think it's not double Arrogant Worm or Arrogant Worm Root Walla. It's just Root Walla. Okay, so we're going to Plowshares the Root Walla because it doesn't change the clock. Oh no, it does change the clock. And they pitched Survival of the Fittest. So 3 up. So we're going to go for Counterspell because if they Circular Logic here, then we'll have Plowshares to beat the Circular Logic. But they can't have double Circ, so that's also good. So they can Circular Logic back, and then I'll have Plowshares. But instead they let it resolve. Do they have another Frantic? They don't. Okay. Okay, so we have Gush. We have Stifle on the top of our deck for the next random madness trigger. But we are going to Gush now, right? Because we can draw an unknown card, which could turn out to be something spicy. And then we can always gain 12 life. Okay, second Stifle. So our next 2 madness triggers are covered. And we're still trying to get 4 attacks in. We just have 4 attacks that we need to do. But we can beat the next Frantic Search, which is extremely exciting. Yeah, Frantic Search. Oh my god. Just stifle the next. No, they just Frantic Search for value. Okay, that's good for them though, because then they cycled the lands. It's like that's actually getting them in a decent place, because I can only deal with the next 2 creatures, but I can't deal with anything else. So the next question is if I want to play this island, I have Plainless Blue, and I think having a Force of Will here is better than playing the island. Down to 3. Now it's getting to the point where if they have nothing, they can't. Like I have the super lockdown on this game. Another Stifle is, I guess, doesn't make a difference. He might go all the way. Frantic for the Ambush Viper mode. So Frantic, Ambush Viper, but then I can beat double Circular Logic here, or like Circular Logic, like I can beat a bunch. So it's the Frantic. I guess I might as well play this at Adarkar Wastes because I'm going to pitch Disenchant, and then maybe I'll need to use 3 Stifles. Pick up Squee, 14 cards in yard, island, Root Walla with backup. Mongrel with backup, rather. Foiling the Mongrel. Pitch the Disenchant, because everything's riding on this mage anyways. Circular Logic back, Plowshares the Mongrel, we play on. And then now I'm short. So is there a world where I take my draw step and see if there's anything I can do on my draw step? I don't think so. But like there's some worlds in which I want to Plowshares my own Dreadnought or something like that. Or I can just stifle the next 2 triggers to keep him at 4. So stifling that annul, and then is he going to pitch his last card, which was Naturalize. Okay, I'm stifling that too, because this is buying me a turn. So this thing is going to stay a 3/3, and then he has one top deck to get out of here. I have no good top decks. If he just has a Basking Root Walla, if he has an Arrogant Worm, but it's going to be survival of the fittest, right? Because there's no justice in this world for the non-Dreadnought players. Oh my god. Oh, GG. Holy. Oh my god. That was the best match of Magic I've played in the last, like... Wow. Oh, wow. So was it a mistake that turn that I went for Dreadnought into Daze? Incredible. Blue-White Dreadnought. This is the Blue-White Dreadnought moment. Bookmark the time code. Send it to your friends. My opponent messaged me that they wouldn't trade their Aquamoeba and it cost them the game. I think that's true, yeah. They should probably just trade their Aquamoeba with Meddling Mage at some point. But I was playing too scared of the Aquamoeba. Wow, that... Wow. Oh, I didn't play that well, though, because... Okay. Okay, hold on. All right. Now that I'm not in the heat of battle, I wanted to look at this turn a little bit closer. And I actually have been thinking about it for like 15, 20 minutes, or like watching it for 20 minutes. I talked about it a lot. I like went and pulled it up right after the match. But then afterwards I closed out and I was like, wait a second, I realized something that changes everything, right? So first I want to talk about playing intuitively versus playing with process. So from here, whether or not you recast the Meddling Mage once it gets bounced to your hand, or whether you cast Dreadnought, can just be a decision that you make somewhat intuitively. And you might make it intuitively explicitly, like my intuition here is to wait until I find an island and Gush, or my intuition here is to jam. Like some people lean more towards high variance plays, like shipping a Dreadnought here, which, could maybe it loses on the spot to like... intuitively, it feels like it loses on the spot to a Daze, but it's kind of beats a Naturalize, and then if I have a Naturalize plus Circular Logic, that's also, that's also going to kill. That's also going to kill you, but you wouldn't think that long about it. Basically, you're like, I have Dreadnought, I have Counterspell, I have Vision Charm. I'm going to send Dreadnought, Vision Charm. Or your intuition can tell you that I'm going to play Meddling Mage is a little bit safer, and I can name Counterspell, or sorry, I can name Naturalize because it looks like they have Naturalize, and I can draw one more card. That card can be an island, it can be Plowshares, it can be Stifle, it can be... those are all the things that would make this hand much better, and I like using my draw step to make my hand much better, make my hand like the maximum quality, then go for it. So the problem is... if you recast Meddling Mage, you get put down to 9 life, and then you are forced to block with it on a later turn. Or if your opponent adds just another attacker that can be Mongrel, Rootwalla, or Aquamoeba, then you'll get locked out of the game. And that was the part of my analysis that I just didn't really think about, which is just that, like, maybe I called it out while I was doing the reasoning, but like looking when I was like doing the reasoning, I sort of hadn't opened up their outs to being like, okay, if they have Naturalize, they can improve to Naturalize Circular Logic, but they also just improve if they just have nothing and they draw Rootwalla if I played Meddling Mage this turn. If I've replayed Meddling Mage this turn and it resolves, then I kind of have to block this Aquamoeba and then either trade or fog it. And then I would take 3. But if they have the days and if I cast Meddling Mage, I go down to 9 and I lose. So that was kind of like a weird thing looking at the interaction between the board state and my life total that impacted things. So the crucial thing about the line of casting Dreadnought was that I wouldn't take 1 damage from my Adarkar Waste. And if they had the days, I would be able to play on, and then I would just have to decide if my position with 2 Meddling Mages on the table versus Basking Ruwala, Aquamoeba, and something like however much life would be good enough 2 turns from now. But with the allotted time that you have in a match, it is, or especially a Magic Online match where you get roughly 4 minutes maximum to think through a decision, or less. I'm not sure actually. With the allotted time, you can't just go, unless you have a lot of processing power up there, you can't just go, okay, well, next turn I'm going to untap. I'm going to have this entire range. I have 46 possible cards in my deck and to draw. I mean, you can narrow them down, obviously, to counterspells, cantrips, lands, and combo pieces. But, how would you be able to process with the 2 unknowns in their hand, even if you have to read that one's naturalize, etc., like what's going to happen for the rest of the game? So you kind of have to go back on intuition, which is just like, is in general 2 Meddling Mages against Basking Ruwala and Aquamoeba a good board position for you, a good board position for your opponent? Is it better? Is it worse? How much does it matter? So yeah, I kind of spent a lot of time because I thought this was a complex place to be, but you can sort of narrow it down to, like, if they have days and you cast the Meddling Mage, you lose on the spot. If they don't have days and you cast the Meddling Mage, you're not really doing much better for your position, because you have to lose. You're going to be forced to lose one of your Meddling Mages the following turn if they try to present a lethal attack, or if they simply play any creature that has up to 3 power, which the top of their deck, can deliver. Looking at this state, right, it's 4 Mongrels, 3 Basking Ruwala, so 7 plus however many Aquamoebas. So initially I thought it was very balanced between whether or not you should play Dreadnought and replay Meddling Mage here. And now when I think about it further, you are sort of pressed to play Dreadnought, just because these attacks are creating just a ton of pressure and you need to counteract that pressure. So I think that intuitively taking 1 less damage to keep you at a number 10 instead of 9, at a number that's not divisible by 3, which is the size of their clock, is very important. And then having a sense of urgency as the Dreadnought player to break free from the pretty common heuristic to like wait and improve until you're done waiting to improve. Because you kind of have the sensibility that cantrips will save you. Cantrips will not save you in positions like this where you miss a land drop, and if you draw a cantrip, you're not even going to be able to cast the spell that you find off that cantrip. Like, basically, I can pass the turn and then go and then do stuff, and then like my only outs become Stifle for the root wall of activation, which is of course Rancid, or Plowshares, or Impulse Portent into Stifle or Plowshares, and that just becomes pretty nasty, pretty bad. And then like, yeah, you're just not in a good spot. So playing Meddling Mage is horrible here. I thought it was reasonable. It turns out to be horrible. I stumbled into the right play, which is playing Dreadnought, even though that the Dreadnought got dazed. The daze would have crushed it. If I played Meddling Mage, and they like not to daze it, I'm in trouble. If I play Meddling Mage and they draw a creature, I'm in trouble. So the only way that this is a good spot for me is if I play Meddling Mage and they have 2 naturalize in their hand, and their third card is a naturalize, and then I can just play Dreadnought, chump with then I well play Dreadnought Vision Charm, chump like lose the one on Meddling Mage that like block the Basking Root wall with the naturalized Meddling Mage, and then they won't have enough mana to cast 2 Meddling Mages the 2 naturalizes the following turn, so that I can just counterspell 1 and go off into the sunset. But the Dreadnought play was better against Daze. I'm curious to hear what you think. Would you have recast Meddling Mage in this position, knowing that at some point your Meddling Mage is forced to block? I think that it's super interesting. And then, of course, the other crazy thing that they could have done, right, is if in the following turn cycle they, they're going to get their 6 damage in. I'm going to go Dreadnought Vision Charm. And then ostensibly just counterspell the naturalize or whatever, possibly take more damage while I'm doing it. So I have 2 mages and a Dreadnought, a phased out Dreadnought versus a Basking Root and Aquamoeba. They can also, if they draw a land, they can kill off. I guess they wouldn't have enough cards. They might not have enough cards in hand to draw a land, kill off the one naming Survival, and then Survival for Gilded Drake or something crazy like that. That's not very likely to happen, but it's interesting to think about. Like I think the possibilities are almost too large for me to like talk out loud. I need a pen and paper, and I need to like write down the situation. But I've been really focused on the decision making process recently, and trying to improve my decision making. And this was a spot I think I thought through. I think I considered some reasonable stuff. I considered how urgent the situation was, what I could what I would kind of definitely lose to. But eventually the clock pressure got to me. I made a decision, and it happened to be the right one. I think I was almost just as likely to make an equally wrong decision. Go down to 9, cast this Meddling Mage. As played out, it would have gotten dazed and I would have lost. But as in several other worlds where it doesn't get dazed, my Meddling Mage ends up trading for 2 mana and a chump block, which is not that good. And then I kind of can lose to any creature off the top in multiple junctures because with my opponent at 11, they only need 2 toughness to throw in front of this Dreadnought and then go for the lethal counterattack if I'm at 3. So there's just tons to consider from this spot. And I think the dream is to be able to make a decision like this quicker and just be like, okay, well, they bounce the Meddling Mage name and naturalize. They probably have naturalize in their hand. It just so happens that they had naturalize plus daze in their hand, which is honestly as good of a position they can be in this specific turn. But my opponent had to sort of bounce the Meddling Mage name and naturalize because they weren't sure if I could simply go for combo and then pay for the daze. I mean, it's actually kind of crazy from the opponent's spot, because they could choose to do something different. And it's also wild that they just didn't draw Survival of the Fittest for the first half of the game. So my Survival of the Fittest Meddling Mage turns out to be a 2/2. So then the follow-up thing is the read is like, okay, well, is there a way that I can just let my Survival Meddling Mage die and keep up the one new naturalize? But from this point, they probably only have 1 naturalize in hand, so Counterspell should do the job. But intense spot. Honestly, I haven't even come to like what I think is empirically the right answer. I think I haven't been able to balance all the factors, but I'm also trying to think about like what do I have to do to train my intuition to narrow things down and be able to make a decision in roughly 30 seconds. I think that's the most important thing. All right, we are already on to the round of 8. Which is pretty exciting. And we've got a mulligan. Plowing through this league this time. Mulligan again, or let it ride. I guess if I draw exactly island, this hand pretty much wins, but I think I can go for a 5. Just to be safe. Because I'd want like a hand with more stability as well. So we'll do this, and we will try to keep things glued together with our cantrips. Start on the wastes. Mountain. Uh-oh. This hand is not great against Mountain unless I start finding combo pieces right away. Okay, found a combo piece. And another combo piece. So we are officially cooking. Oh, G2 encampment. We're playing against Ponza? That's interesting. Alright, let it rip. This is kind of unfair that I drew this well. Ponza is a much tougher matchup for the build as I have it built. They can have just a lot of the mana denial stuff, and it'll be quite good. Attack with the Dreadnought. And because their interaction comes in the form of pillage, and I haven't like seen a powder keg or anything, I'm just gonna cast this Sinking Dreadnought. I mean, I guess that's why you mulled a 5. I don't know. Think that there's no way for them to beat 2 Dreadnoughts. Okay, that's how you do it. So now what do? I try to draw cards, try to make land drops. So Red Ponza deck sometimes runs Sphere Resistance, but at the very least this can catch like a Curse Scroll. I'm sort of not going to do this. They don't have like a ton of Plowshares targets, but all their entire clock is Plowsharesable. The real question is if I need to be running Meddling Mage at all, but I think running Meddling Mage is like pretty fine. I think I could just go for the Masticore plan here. They can't stop a Masticore. And they have manlands for me to dominate. Just full control. Just full blue-white control. Like we could even play the foils. Play like 1 Vision Charm to protect our Masticore sometimes. Just play 2 foils. Or we could just play the last Disenchant. Last Disenchant is fine. And then just play an Armageddon. Because like sometimes we can Armageddon. I mean, Armageddon and Masticore are not homies. I will tell you that. I don't know. This seems fine to me. Ponza is a very slow deck. The only thing that I'm thinking is that Meddling Mage is like a little bit mediocre against G2 encampment, but is pretty good with Armageddon. I can't help but thinking this is going to work. I just need to keep a hand with like a lot of lands. We'll see. I mean, maybe they're super aggressive and this is like a total misread, but I don't think it is. Remember when I said I needed to keep a hand with a bunch of lands? Alright, at least our basics. Oh man, the world's my oyster. I don't want this Meddling Mage, I think. Although we'll start clocking. This Gush is so good though. I guess I could just bottom the Impulse, but the Impulse represents more lands. Well, maybe I just ditch the Gush. Or I can just ditch the Plowshares. Because they're not going to... Well, because I have the Meddling Mage, I want the Plowshares. I'm just going to go 2-2 beat down here, right? Gush is so good, though. Alright, 2-2 beat down it is. Flooded Strand. Give me something to blast. Nope. So I could play the Meddling Mage here. And I think I will. Because tempo. Island, play a waste, and play a Meddling Mage. I'm going to name a Hydroblast. And maybe they'll bolt it, but then I gain 2 life. Wasteland, yeah. I had a feeling that that could be coming for me. But I am prepared with a alternative white source. There's a keg. Are they going to wasteland it? Yeah, they are. Nice, another Meddling Mage. Let's get in there. So I don't love getting this plains with 2 white spells, potentially exposing to a pillage. So I'm going to pass. I can put the fuse counter on. I want to get 1 more white spell cast before I fetch this plains. Key 2, white. And we're going to disenchant the powder keg, and that's going to get incinerated. And that's going to open the door for us to once again say that we want to name Hydroblast. Because that seems to be the card that they value here. There's another wasteland. Pillage my plains. Pillage my island. Huh, interesting play. Okay. That's good play, that's good play. Get some work done. Guess I needed to take the impulse. Okay, pillage. Okay, pillage is getting the job done here. Now I'm facing quite the clock. And I can't play this because it'll just get wastelanded. So maybe I have to pack some Stifles for the wasteland. So he still had like Bolt Incinerate action. What's this 3 mana up for? Is it for Dwarven Miner? I guess we'll just Plowshares that. Magic Online is lagging a bit for me, so I'm going to restart probably. Okay, and then now we're dead. Okay, so I think my plan was okay. I just need to draw lands. I could Stifle Wasteland. I have 20 lands. And I can always Meddling Mage Lightning Bolt as well if I want it to survive. Yeah, there's a version of this game where I draw lands and we're good. I think Armageddon has the potential to legitimately lock them out. And I think that Stifle is not as good with Wasteland and Keg being the only targets. We'll try it. Alright, there's a hand. A Portent. See a bunch of lands. Yeah. I would love to draw plentiful lands all day against Mono Red Ponza. And yeah, they have no pressure. Like, they're just not really a pressure deck, so I can just kind of run up the basic island game. Gonna impulse. And I'm actually just gonna grab this Gush because I'm gonna start hard casting Gush pretty soon. And like just stack up the lands. Island. Of course, Gush protects me from stray pillages, so. Although I might not cast it this turn. Dwarven Blast Miner, right? I forgot about that guy. Okay. Dominate. Too bad I can't make any red mana, otherwise the dominate would look pretty good. There's a key to encampment, so I can make red mana. Keep playing islands here. There's a Mistress Factory. It's a pretty valuable target here. Just getting in for 1. I'm going to have Dominate Counterspell up pretty soon. I don't want to hand size, so I'm just going to Impulse instead of casting Gush. And Plowshares will be a welcome find here. Although Dominate was pretty good too. I guess I should have thought more about it. I also want to shuffle these back into my deck because they are so valuable. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Okay, so I just need to dominate the Dwarven Miner, then dominate a Gitu encampment so I can make red. There's a Mistress Factory. Begin combat. I mean, this will stop the attack, right? So, I mean, I let him have an extra mana this way. Oh, wait, I needed to wait for the attack because now he can just Dwarven Miner this, Mistress Factory. Yeah, that's my mistake. All right. Not ideal See if he plays a spell. No spell. Okay, so a bit of a throw right there. But we soldier on and don't really want to expose this plains. I guess I'll just counter the whatever. We're just looking for Masticore here once we have Masticore. Although I think Pillage might stop Masticore. I might say it can't be regenerated. Yeah, so I needed the Door Miner to be tapped. That was pretty crucial there because it changed my 2-for-1 into not a 2-for-1. And of course Disenchant can hit that guy, so Thawing Glaciers. Am I going to get Urza's Raged? Alright, we will Gush first. I guess that I could be worried about Counterspell, but I'm not going to be, I guess. And we'll just Plowshares this encampment. They'll get in for 1. Maybe I should have just gone with the... look at how many cards I would draw. If I just had the Dreadnought plan, I think I'd be fine. But we're going to Portent. Probably find Masticore soon, right? Okay. I think I'll opt in case I find another Portent. Just Deep Analysis. So I've drawn infinite cards, but still sort of looking for looking for one of my action spells. Also, one of my action spells would have been like Eternal Dragon. There's a keg. That doesn't really matter. And they're just holding up mana. So they're in for 1. Get to a Portent again. There's the Masticore. Let's go ahead and draw Dominate. I want to draw all 3 of these cards. Yeah, so just have to take... Okay, let's read the text of Pillage. Yeah, can't be regenerated. Okay, so I have triple Counterspell, and I have to use all my Counterspells on their Pillage. So that is important. So I'm going to cast Masticore the next turn with like the maximum leverage. Do I want to draw Dominate or Plowshares? Plowshares I'm sort of guaranteed to cast, but Dominate could bait or important Red Blast. I guess I can always cast Gush to make it like a non-issue. They're going to thaw. There's the Thawing Glaciers. And we do have a land attack. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to Blue Blast this Dwarven Miner. And I'm going to Dominate this G2 encampment. And then I have double Counterspell for Pillage, so I have to go Pillage Double Blast. Okay. I'll play Masticore. Hope it works. One of my only win cons here. I'm also going to Gush because I have a land drop this turn that I might as well make. And I've got these Deep Analysis loaded up for the future. So Pillage Double Blast and then we play on is honestly quite likely, but what am I supposed to do? Yeah, Counterspell. Counterspell again. Discard a card. We have the second Masticore, so that's why I'm not like showing the craziest amount of urgency. Gush again. Play a Meddling Mage, and we'll name Pillage. And I think we're actually going to go for a deep here because I have the mana floating and I can Plowshares my own stuff. And then also I can... okay, I kind of fumbled this because I kind of forgot I needed to disenchant the stupid thing, because now it threatens my Meddling Mages. And I think I'm going to play just a little bit conservatively here. No need to have my life total go below the threshold of 10, which Urza's Rage deals with. And I could really use that Armageddon here. Shard Phoenix. Okay. That is a Shard Phoenix. Incinerate. Okay, I'm going to Gush in response to this Incinerate because I have to answer here. And I got nothing. Forgot about Incinerate. Okay, Plowshares this Masticore. Get a little life to work with. Okay, so we have other cards that we are annoyed by, huh? Okay, well, I think I would have just won if I had Dreadnought, but it's okay. This Meddling Mage will name Shard Phoenix. I don't know if the second one should name Powder Keg or not, but or it can name Incinerate. I guess I should take a peek at what's coming. No, I don't need a hand size for no reason, I think. So I think I'll just name Powder Keg with the second one, even though I'm drawing towards 3 Disenchants, I guess. Three Disenchants in my deck. I should probably just name Incinerate. I guess I'll name Powder Keg. I mean, they've only used one. It's something that I know they'll have a lot of. I guess they're really good at answering Masticores. I kind of thought as like a red deck, they would not be Masticore proof. Okay, now I have 2 creatures left in my deck, so we have a problem here. Never mind. I guess we should draw some insurance. Does this say Berry? No, it doesn't. So I have 4 mana, then I can't regenerate and Stifle. So it's a little too all in. Don't really need this Flooded Strand or this guy. All right, I'm getting thawed. I'll Stifle that. I mean, I guess if it was the one Armageddon, it would have also kind of done the job. This is a wild one. Gotta hand it to Humongous Red. This deck does indeed go pretty humongous. All right, so Masticore doesn't shorten my clock at all, so should I play it? Oh, I stifled the disc, but it only works one time because it doesn't sacrifice to go. Okay, I have to play the Masticore. It's like pretty bad if it's pretty bad if they have Incinerate here. So I guess I just have to let them pop the disc on me. Oh, I probably shouldn't play white. I still need some Adarkar Wastes in the clip. I'm gonna return the Shard Phoenix. There's that guy. Then we can pop the disc. Disc pop works. 2 mages gone. Shard Phoenix hard cast. Okay. Well, we didn't play this well, but maybe we just got bailed out. Add this, add this, add this, add this. And then that's 4. And then we have this. And we're gonna Armageddon. Okay, deck, you sort of worked. Any order? I'm gonna Plowshares this while we have the Painless white mana. They're gonna activate. We're gonna play Masticore. And we're gonna play Island and hopefully have Regeneration Shield up next turn. And then I can only get Bolt Incinerated. And then I can have Meddling Mage close. And that's how you beat decks that do nothing. Oh. Maybe I should have played... I mean, Counterspell does seal the deal better than Adarkar Wastes, but Adarkar Wastes is literally my last source. No, I have 1 more left in the deck. And yeah, that's a lockout. All right. Armageddon. Armageddon. Okay, so loose stuff. Just like losing that Mishra's Factory for no reason actually was like a huge deal because it was like a really big card. So that was definitely a throw. So yeah, that was just like a really stupid thing. I thought that I was saving 1 damage, but instead I was like losing the factory. Now that factory, my opponent I guess just had Wasteland at the end, so I guess the factory doesn't make that big of a difference. And as a result, Dominate was kind of like not the best spell there, but it still kind of grinds him out. And blowing up their lands is not the worst. And Deep Analysis was kind of funny. A deck with burn can actually do some scary stuff, so that was hard to say. And Armageddon was definitely good there. I think Armageddon was something that I should have thought a little bit more about how obvious it was that I was going to need it. But yeah, 2 Masticores. That's why you play 2 Masticores, because your opponent might have Incinerate, and Incinerate works against Masticore. So like the only thing that didn't was a disc, but I had a bunch of Disenchants at the bottom of my library, so it was kind of unfair that I never drew them. So chalk that up to like half and half, right? Because I could have just disenchanted the disc. I had 3 disenchants and I just didn't see them. But yeah, Armageddon, just as good. And 2 Masticores. But yeah, I think if I just had like Dreadnought combo, I could have just like drawn a bunch of cards. Like I could have just like not played foils or whatever, and then just did exactly the same stuff and drawn a bunch of cards. Like poured out Meddling Mage, and just had Dreadnought, like 2 Dreadnoughts in my deck with some Stifle and Vision Charms, and then I would have won the game a lot faster. So a little bit of a miscue there, but they do have a lot of hate. You know, they have Disc, they have Blast, they have Pillage, but I would have just, like, even if I had like 5 protection, I think Dreadnought would have gotten through. All right, welcome to the semis. I guess there's a chance that Iron Lungs actually was seated lower than me, but I'm pretty sure I'm on the draw. My my breakers were absolutely horrible. Yeah. Iron Lungs is 18. The only one below me is Paul Master, so I'm on the draw all the way. All right, so he's definitely playing burn, and triple Swords of Plowshares in an opt is the most ridiculous hand to play against burn. Oh my god, I'd be hoping so bad for my deck to get there. But he has to deal all the damage without any creatures. He has to deal all the damage without any creatures? I think I have to try this. I mean, Swords of Plowshares is like my best card. Next to combo. Mulligan once for combo is like not bad, but like I don't know. This is like I would keep this as a 6-card hand. And then if I draw counterspells, they're good against spells. I just don't think he's going to do any damage this game. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's dumb. Like, I've got the Adarkar Wastes is going to deal damage to me. And I can always just Plowshare my Dreadnought if... I mean, that's not going to be a winning play, but... I guess the other problem is if he has Sulfuric Vortex, but I know he only runs 2. And I know he actually added creatures to this deck. So my hand really lines up against what he's got going on. I think we just keep it. I mean... I don't blame you for mulling this hand, but you just know your opponent's on burn. It's like, I don't know. Seems good enough to disco. Like the basic planes also super helps, right? Into Counterspell. So on turn 3, I'll have Plowshares Counterspell. That can't be bad. All right. Pass, he attacks, I Plowshares. I'm trying to set my mouse up to be doing my commands correctly. Let's see on 2 if it's double creature. Looks like it's double creature. So I might double Plowshares this turn, but I think opt Plowshares is a little bit stronger. Oh man, my mouse settings are killing me here. Okay, whatever. This is too slow. All right, Island. I'm just gonna use the keyboard, I guess. I was in a good flow with my mouse commands, and this kind of screws it up. Okay, and that obviously made it so that I mean, I actually have to hold up for ball laning here. So we're going to get the Mog Fanatic coming in. Sure. But yeah, this Grim Lavamancer getting the +1 damage is a problem. So we need to get closer to the goods. But we are at 19 against 2 cards in hand and kind of a slow one. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't plow that Lavamancer. If ball lightning comes in, then I'm just like in super trub. And yeah, we're just gonna we're just going to do the thing. I mean, our deck rewarded us here for the like just getting there by casting a single opt is wild. Bolt face 14. This is deterministic. That Curse Scroll is too awkward of a draw, and the Plowshares and the Jackal Pup was too good. Lavamancer is fine. I don't even have to Plowshares the Lavamancer, I think, but I guess I should have thought about it. But yeah, I can't take enough damage. I can't take, like, I'm not going to die from damage from 13. One card reps. For the maximum is 4 plus 3 plus 4. 4 plus 3 plus 4 is 11 plus 2 from the Monk Fanatic. Okay, so the maximum is higher, but that's the absolute maximum. That's Fire Blast, Lightning Bolt, Lavamancer activation, Barbarian Ring activation, plus Monk Fanatic in. So a single Counterspell breaks it up, but Plowshares also breaks it up. So I guess if I Plowshared end step, I could have Meddling Maged, naming Fire Blast, and then also won the game. All right. Stupid mouse needs to get configured. All right, I should start sideboarding. Blasts come in. Meddling Mages are questionable, but they're okay. Impulse becomes a little slow. And then I can trim Meddling Mage, play an Armageddon, play a Disenchant. I can even play a Masticore, because sometimes the Masticore game skirts their plan to play a bunch of blasts, but it doesn't work against the shatters. It doesn't work as well against Mock Salvage. It's like playable against Mock Salvage. Foil Gush. Man, Meddling Mage kind of is good at naming Power Blast. Actually, I know that Iron Lungs is playing a bunch of creatures. Like, he's playing a bunch of Goblin Cadets, so... So I have to find Magic Online. Actually, can I do this? Can I put Magic Online into the sidebar? Or, okay. It's too hard to deal with right now. Not ideal here. But I guess we're trimming an opt. All right, what do we got? Portent Vision Charm with Hydroblast. It's good enough. It's a little bit close, but I think it's good enough. Okay. Gotta blast that, unfortunately. Jackal Pup, too threatening, even worth missing a land drop, I'm pretty sure. There's the double cadet, pretty strong. So I have wastes here, and I have counterspell. So go ahead and portent me, see if there's any good news, and I don't want any of these. And we're going to hold up the Swords of Plowshares here. The attack comes in. Plowshares, a cadet. Lungs has 3 cards in hand, 1 cadet's in play. Oh, 1 pup in play. That's nasty. That's a lot of pressure. It's time to ship. It is time to ship. But yeah, pretty much lost this game. Triple 1-drop is gonna be, it's actually really hard to deal with triple 1-drop plus blast backup here, and I can't just like take 4 damage and try to draw nothing, because I guess I could have waited 1 more turn and cast one singular counterspell, but I wasn't gonna like wait until I had the land drops. And actually I think I might not play the Disenchant because I know that Lungs probably doesn't like love playing a bunch of artifacts and enchantments in this matchup. But I'm just dead to creatures here. I should play Masticore instead of Disenchant. But yeah, looking for a basic island. I mean, I guess a Dreadnought Plowshares would have helped me, but okay. I guess I should have went for the counterspell last turn. But could be no burn and all Dreadnought interaction here though. So if it's all Dreadnought interaction, I have a chance. But might not be. Down to 2, 3. Bloodstained Mire. There's the counterspell. Okay. Our draw has to be quite good from this spot. The cadets are marching in. Patrol. That means I am dead. All right. So no Disenchant. Yes, Masticore. Also, no Armageddon. Seems kind of crazy, but I actually think that's correct here. Just because even though Armageddon locks out his top decks and could pave the way for me to close out. No, Armageddon's still pretty good, huh? As I say it out loud. Maybe like the third foil is better than Counterspell. Because Counterspell is just so awkward with my mana. But Counterspell still is like really good on turn 4. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Masticore is like a little bit crazy here because once I play the Masticore, I also have to race, but all of his damage is coming from creatures post board, so Masticore becomes like a smart juke, and he showed willingness to play the cadets. So I could even Meddling Mage to like naming Lightning Bolt and then block the cadets or force him to kill the Meddling Mage. I think he's got it board out. Seal of Fire, like it's just too mopey of a card. But yeah, I don't know exactly his sideboard plan. Dominate is gets too far owned by blasts. Okay, mid-range Dreadnought. Let's go. I mean, maybe I should just board out combo pieces. That's one thing I hadn't considered and just go all in, but it does keep him busy. I'm gonna keep this hand. It's not like the most exciting hand, but it's got basic plans, which I'm pretty happy with. And this is like a good hand that develops into a Masticore. We're gonna start on plains. Lungs on the mulligan to 6, starting with the Grim. We'll Plowshares it immediately, but he must have been aware that that was a possibility here. Island's not a great draw, obviously, but we can work it. Might Meddling Mage Pyroblast so that I can protect this Gush. So do I need to protect the Mage or protect the Gush? I think I'll protect the Gush. The only thing is that when you Mage burn spells, it does force him to use burn spells on the Mage in order to unlock more burn spells. So that could be more what the game's about. So I think I actually changed my mind. I think I'm going to name Lightning Bolt. Because trading with Blast is not the thing. Like I can trade with Blast all day, and I want to trade with burn spells and creatures. Like I want to stop what he's doing because I think my deck's configuration has that possibility. Yeah, and there's Incinerate, so pretty reasonable to trade with an Incinerate from this spot. Do I Gush? Put myself back 1,000 lands, but make sure my Gush doesn't get blasted. I think I'm fine. There's a Patrol. There's a Blue Elemental Blast. So I can protect my Gush, but because I have the land drops, I might just keep going, and because I have the answer to this Patrol, I think I'm going to chill one time. Wait till he pays the Echo. Just a Bolt Face, that's fine. That's just like discarding a card as far as I'm concerned. Pays the Echo. And I'm just going to destroy the Patrol before he has the chance to draw a blast off the top. There's a Pup. So keeping up the aggression, that's fine. Ugh, okay, it's time to Gush. Look for something, anything. Another Gush. Into an Impulse or a Stifle. I guess Impulse is fine. It'll get rid of these cards. I mean, I guess... No, I'm not ready for the Stifle. Yeah, I don't think I'm ready for the Stifle. I need to... I'm actually drawing towards Masticore before I draw towards Stifle. Comes across with the Pup. Go ahead, cast the Impulse here. Looking for Plowshares, but I got Counterspell instead. So should I take Counterspell or Stifle? I think I'd still take Counterspell, but that's a tough one because I'm gonna Gush next turn, I think, because I can't just like take 1,000 damage from this Jackal Pup for no reason. Adarkar Wastes, yeah. Gassing out, Masticore or bust one time, and then I can't even beat like a Mog Salvage. Like Mage. Gonna name Lightning Bolts. But yeah, flooded out. I mean, I added a land to the deck and I cut some cantrips, so I kind of have to believe that. I mean, this could get blasted, but Oh, it is a Seal Fire. Okay. Well, I did sort of fog there. All right, so now my outs are like trying to put together Dreadnought Plowshares, but I can't have this much junk in my hand. Portent, Gush, Impulse, 2 Gushes. Yeah. How many lands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lands. 9 lands and 8 spells. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to go for Dreadnought and then hopefully draw Masticore. Oh my god. Can't actually do it with another land. I mean, we'll have a window to Dreadnought Plowshares, but unfortunately these draw steps are just putting us away. I mean, they won't put us away once we find Masticore. Like the sequence has to be draw Plowshares, then draw Masticore. But yeah, the 1-drop build is definitely better in these situations. Mock Fanatic. What am I at, 9? Kind of just got to use my mana here. Plowshares. Upkeep, try to do 9 damage to me. Oh man, 9 damage would be crazy. Well, I think what's going to happen is I'm going to pass the turn. But yeah, he was thinking about going like Bolt, Bolt, Fire Blast here and just like didn't want it to all be countered. But he probably just tries to do it. So here's the problem. If I play combo, then he's going to be like, well, I guess it's time to go Bolt, Bolt, Fire Blast, and then I'll die. But if I don't play the combo, he might just attack and then be like, okay, well now I only need to go Bolt, Fire Blast. So I'm dead to 9 damage. The pause on my upkeep made it seem like he definitely had 9 damage in his hand. So should I just go for combo with the read that he has like 8 damage and then just try to draw into the Plowshare? So like get an attack in, Plowshares my own Phyrexian Dreadnought? Or do I think that he just like paused on my upkeep and was just using that time to think, period? And can I take 2 more damage? I mean, if I like draw another Gush, like that's good. But I need to draw like exactly Swords of Plowshares, and I have enough mana to go Dreadnought combo Impulse Swords of Plowshares next turn. If I draw Impulse, and if I draw Blue Blast or whatever, might be fine. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't have boarded out. I guess I overboarded. I don't know. Did I draw too many bad sideboard cards? I only drew 1 sideboard card, and it was the good one. Did I draw the extra planes? That could have been like whatever. It saved me like a bunch of damage because, well, maybe I had the Flooded Strand to start the turn. Did I not draw enough Counterspell or Obs? What if I draw Armageddon? I can't really be in a world where he has 3 burn spells in his hand because no matter what, he can turn that into a win. But some of them can be Seal of Fires. But I'm also just never going to win. Like I lose on the spot to a Blue Blast here. I mean, I guess I don't lose to this on the spot. I guess I can draw a Masticore next turn exactly. But I want to keep Plowshares as an out. I want to still be able to draw Plowshares and be out of this situation. Is Plowshares the only way that I can win this game? The only way I can win this game is if his hand doesn't contain any creatures, so it can only be burn spells or shatters. So there's just not enough hands that just deal 8 damage right now that I can, like, there's just not enough hands. It would have to be, the burn spells would have to be all Seal of Fire, and Seal of Fire he's incentivized to play out. So it is all interaction. So it just means that I have to draw, Plowshares next turn because it's definitely interaction from this spot. The 1/1's got me, or the 2/1s rather. 2/1s and 1/1s. By committee. But the good news is if his hand is all blast type effects, then I could potentially make it out alive with a good draw. Yeah, he keeps pausing on my upkeep. I also keep drawing lands. Okay, whatever, Mana Flood. I mean, do I mulligan that hand? Don't think so. I mean, it had 4 lands to start with, so I should only get mad at every land I drew afterwards. But we're at turn 10. Yeah, Stifle isn't going to do it, huh? It's my turn 11. Well, it's shatters and not blasts. What can you say? Yeah, I mean, I think Plowshares obviously would have been plausible from that spot there. But now I am at 3. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay, well, I guess I shouldn't be a 20 land deck against burn. I don't know. We got game 1. That's what mattered. And that concludes our run with Blue-White Dreadnought. Semifinals plus winning a play-in. So I had to win 1 extra match. That is not bad as a result, but losing both to burn, and I also played a version of this deck with accumulated knowledge, and I lost to burn at meetup. So burn basically becoming my nemesis here on the Dreadnought deck. So who would have thunk? Was like I like being able to Plowshares my Dreadnought, but then I just play on, right? And then the Jackal Pup just undoes that in 6 turns. So it's not like Plowshares was would have been a godsend. It just would have made the game playable. And Chris's burn version plays much more creatures. Creatures are much better, but he has incinerate post combat. So kind of feel like I should still be able to hang in there, but I don't know. My head might not have been in the game. I probably just sideboarded wrong. Like maybe I can just I don't remember exactly what the best course of action is. Like I think if I Meddling Mage and it trades with a burn spell, it's basically the same thing as countering a burn spell. And then sometimes it can just make things awkward. Like it stops Goblin Cadets. So it forces the burn spell to be used on a creature instead of face. And I think that's roughly okay for like a card in my deck. But if I do try to small ball the burn deck by playing in that way, maybe that's to my disadvantage, because I really only have 6 ways to interact with a 2/1. Meddling Mage doesn't really count. So I have like 6 ways to interact with the 2/1. And my deck should be drawing for those ways to interact with 2/1s or drawing for combo. So I think I should have just played with more urgency, or just like played towards getting Masticore on the table. But he still had Incinerate, so it would have been the second time this league that the Masticores could get owned by Incinerate, which would have been entertaining. Deck overall, I think, is pretty good. I think it's like a good meta call. I don't know if this deck is strictly worse against burn. I think I just strategically failed. Like I think I should have honed my strategy in to keep in all the cantrips and maybe just side out Meddling Mage and just bring in 2 blasts and 2 Masticore, and then just like have Masticore as an option to kind of, I mean, maybe I don't even bring a Masticore. Maybe I just side out all the Meddling Mage and I just bring in 2 blasts and 2 Armageddon. And if my opponent is like loading up on blasts, I'll just Armageddon them. And if my opponent is not loading up on blasts, whatever, I can still like fast combo and try to have enough protection up. But pretty cool. I mean, I'm glad that just the additions of the Goblin Piker and the Goblin Cadets makes burn look a lot better in the matchup than it used to. Because if you just imagine that those are random burn spells, they just deal a lot less damage, and they trade with a lot fewer cards. So even though I have 4 Plowshares and 2 blasts, right, where there's a mono blue deck would just sideboard into 4 blasts, and I don't even know if they would bother with Powder Keg. Even though I had more removal, it stresses my removal out. Was there any other interesting stuff? I mean, I played against Pattern Rector, maybe, or was that this other league? Things are starting to mush up in my brain, but I like that this deck had a good pivot to control. What I would do going forward is I would trim one of these Masticores, and I would play something crazy like an Eternal Dragon or an Exalted Angel. I still kind of like the idea of Deep Analysis. Dominate is sort of worse and worse in this deck. A lot of decks that you try to dominate can Pyroblast you, and it's just a big mana investment for you to fight against blue decks with dominate. Like if you are trying to dominate their manland, like it ends up being a weird counter battle, and it commits a lot of mana. But the good news is that you can do it on their end step. So I don't know, maybe dominate's still fine or still good enough. And Disenchant is great. I mean, having 4 Disenchant against decks that are affected by Disenchant, I think will always be a sound strategy and totally fine. And you can always make this deck even more controlling. You can trim some Opt and some Impulse and just go all in on AK, but then your mana curve gets pretty high at that point. At 2. 2's high for this deck. But honestly, not too mad. You know, I flooded out that game, but I didn't like flood out by a margin that would have won me the game. Like if I had drawn 2 more non-land cards and fewer land, like it, you know, it wouldn't have made a huge difference. Just kind of the way the cards were dealt, and also, you know, got to put some more respect on Burns' name in the matchup. They can show you a different look that is effective. So I don't mind that at all. I think if you just have a lot of 2/1s, you can put the Dreadnought player in a position where they have to have combo double protection by turn 5 or 6. So I think that's like a pretty good way to build. And I think I would say that I'd prefer to play this over Mono Blue Dreadnought moving forward. What I've noticed about the metagame is that the decks that play permanents are becoming more popular than the decks that play spells. So, the big deck that quote unquote plays spells, being Replenish, is kind of like a deck that plays permanents anyways, or a deck that Meddling Mage helps. Sorry. So Replenish is basically a spell deck, even though it uses permanents. None of those permanents are like low to the ground, right? So I like Meddling Mage against Replenish type stuff. I don't like Meddling Mage against Oathponza type decks, which the mono blue version was sort of designed to fight. Against sort of dirtily blue control decks, I think mono blue is better, but against sort of mid-rangey survival of the fittest type decks, I like blue-white a lot better. And, you know, I also think that you have a lot of flexibility in the shell to use what's good about the mono blue deck and apply it to blue white. And, you know, you'll be slightly more vulnerable to Wasteland, but you'll have the ability to be a control deck that's bigger than sort of mid-range and beatdown decks post board. So I like this deck better against Goblins. I like it. I think theoretically I would like it better against a deck like Clerics. Any deck that you can sort of effectively sidestep the style of disruption that they're using by turning into either a half control deck or a full control deck. I like this because the mono blue deck did sidestep into a control deck, but it was a very specific like Tide Control with Powder Keg deck. And so if your opponent was resistant to the types of permanent interaction that you had, you could be in a difficult spot. Or if they had like good card advantage, you could get tempoed out. I don't think Terrageddon's a horrible matchup for mono blue. I think Terrageddon's actually a totally fine matchup for mono blue, but Terrageddon does have the option to like have a little beatdown, catch you with Pyroblast or catch you with Meddling Mage, and make it a little harder for you to interact. So yeah, I mean, Swords of Plowshares, Meddling Mage, Disenchant, and Armageddon, like these are just really, really 10 out of 10 cards that are better than their mono blue counterparts. So you do give up some consistency. You literally saw like a spot, I think, where I couldn't cast foil or something in this video. So these kinds of things don't come up without their cost, but I think those costs are slightly overrated. And I think that this list is slightly underrated. But you do also have to scrap a little harder with this list. I don't think I didn't really nut draw people, but also, you know, it's not. That some of that is luck, and then I did have some like draw out like perfect top deck situations. So you still have the ability to do broken things, but you can be kind of a reasonable fair deck. So yeah, that's that. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm always working on stuff and really devoted to my process now. So if you want to discuss lines of play in the comments, I fully welcome that. And I love using the YouTube videos to break down specific play lines and hopefully improve, and hopefully you learn something from it too. And thanks for supporting the channel. 1,000 subscribers. Couldn't have done it without you. So thanks for watching and take care.